Welcome back, everybody, to CCL. My name is Phil. Also joined here today by Cairo. It's been a long time, probably since season 2 of SFCL, I think it was, but we're back up here for the duo. How you feeling today, man?
I'm so excited, fellow. I'm just off a cast on R6 UK, now straight on to Northern Arena from CCL action, and I'm actually quite excited to see what these teams have in store for us today.
Yeah, we've got Achieve versus Sonic Boom. Quickly go take a look at their rosters before we start up this best of 3, starting out with Achieve to get a look at their main 5. And, well, actually, both of them. I always forget we actually have both the rosters on the exact same graphic. We've got Badger, Shu, Gingy, Yams, and Stu's World. So in case you remember from last week, there is a bit of a roster change moving into week number 2 here for the side of Achieve. And then for Sonic Boom, we've got Chiro, and then we've got Zach, AR, Hixer, and then, yes, I cheat for their main 5 today.
Some good players, I'd imagine. I don't really have much in terms of knowledge for these two teams, but I'm sure you do, Phil. I'm sure we'll see some good action from these two rosters nonetheless. But I think we do actually have a map ban phase to kind of throw up on screen and decide when we can show exactly where we're going to be battling today.
No, unfortunately, we do not. It's still being in the works because of the new 9 map pool. We got to get that graphic made, but in due time, it'll come. We just talk about them. We have got Border, Chalet, and then the decider of Villa, which, shockingly enough, for the third and final map, I was a bit surprised that we're actually ended up going to Villa because, last time for Achieve, I felt like they were a bit rocky, so maybe having more time to VOD review and actually, get everything back up in proper order made them a bit more confident going into that third and final map of Villa if we, of course, get there. But with both teams readied up here to start out on map number 1, we will take it immediately into Border to see what what both teams actually want to go and ban here in terms of operating.
Oh, Border, I always love it. It was funny when I was casting it for the first time the other day with Yali. Me and her were just kind of talking through the ban phase, and I was talking about all the old stuff that used to happen on Border, talking about throwing it back to that 2019 final with SSG, when that, I think that was the last time we actually saw Border in the competitive map pool, and all the kind of cage spots that we used to see. I mean, it's essentially the same map, apart from a bathroom, but nonetheless a ban of the first ban, that makes sense. The Queen of the Hatches, she's gone off the board due to, well, as you can imagine, how many hatches that are actually on board, and the fact that the range charge breach kind of helps out, especially on the main breach and armory, because you can get on that repel. Thatcher, the second one, totally makes sense.
Well, yeah, like you mentioned, Thatcher is a very normal ban. He's pretty much picked on every single map except for maybe Coastline, but of course that is no longer in the pool, so you don't even have to worry about that singular atypical selection. Valkyrie being banned as well, that makes total sense. Runouts are relatively prominent, especially for hyperactive teams, and that roam game is always something to discuss as well on a map like CCTV, or not CCTV, sorry, on Border, where you see a lot of extensions, funny enough, leading into the side of CCTV, and one operator that can help out with some of those extensions is the Mira, hence why she's getting removed as well, for the final 4 being gone.
Still a lot on the board here for the defence. I'm one of the advocates that say that I think we should be moving up the bands to what do they call it, an extra 2 per side, but hey ho, we won't get into that tonight. I do believe, though, that there's enough to really disrupt the defence. I'm talking Cade Claws below, maybe even a little roamer to protect it. I mean, the amount of stuff that you can pull off on this map is crazy. Armory Lockers is going to be our first site. And well, I'm looking at Badger here taking a castle. That's the most interesting pick out of all 4, I think. Alibi obviously bringing the shield, Rieger to protect it for the main breach, Cade Claw to protect the main breach, and then you've got your other catcher in Wamai for the back of sight. Castle will probably help out on Sandwich Window and elsewhere on the map. Can't think where else, but it looks pretty good so far for the defense.
And even nowadays, having the castle is not too uncommon. He's definitely thrived more in the current meta because of the lack of general shields that can be
Yeah.
in the defender's pool. Having that Goyo change where it's bulk impact now instead of a whole shield, you need something to kind of fill that void. And the castle panels now having 4, it's just a great way to resolve that problem. It lets you cut off those key choke point areas and just remain on that roam game for much longer. And again, on a map like Border, that roam game and the extension presence, it's a must on almost any site you play here.
Really interesting that we are seeing half of the panel for the main breach actually being opened up to create an aggressive angle out there. It can just make people feel uneasy, but I sometimes feel that you should just shore up there and then make the holes in towards CCTV if you want to contest, just because at the point of kind of contesting that main breach, if you lose that gunfight, and you allow the attackers to get control of that half-vault area, it can make it really, really hard to retake it, and especially allows the teams to get in and get that plant down. So far, don't know if I think that's the only thing I don't like about Achieve's esports setup right now.
Well, at least they still have plenty of utility, of course, again, to play for this extension. And you have a lot of fallback options as well. You can maybe sit in Fountain if you need to, if you're getting pressure in your offices. You've got metal stairs, or yeah, you would have metal/main stairs to play off of as well. But having nobody on that eastern balcony does definitely lead to some questions. That's a really good place to hold to just get that early aggression. And if you need to, you can just fall back down into courtyard/the main lobby area and just retreat somewhere else. We have Arctic's actually getting that opening duel as a win against Stu's World, so already a pretty decent start here for Sonic Boom, as they've already gotten rid of one of those main roamers and have a fair amount of map control in their back pocket as well.
Oh, Gingy's has actually replied, getting rid of Blade. But look at this, we are keeping the advantage towards these attackers, but the Nomad is feeling a lot of damage. What a flick that is, placing the crosshair at the correct time. And there we go, what a lovely pick that was onto the Womai. There is a 2 versus 4 situation here. And well, it seems as if the attackers are slowing things right down. A minute and 30, and rightly so. The Iana drone goes in, gains the information. There is a player inside of offices and puts the work in. Badger taken out of Arctics. Can't quite get the angle onto Hixer, but right now, 2 versus 3, things are looking good for Sonic Boom.
Yeah, they've got plenty of time to gather that information, make sure where they know exactly where Gingy and Badger are playing at, and still a couple of flash grenades, you know, them being pretty dominant in the current meta as well, fully blinding people depending on their position. That can allow for a good play to be made, but Gingy still holding these long angles will actually equalize, and that definitely gives Achieve much more room to breathe in this last minute.
There is still a minute remaining, plenty of time to get the execution through, plenty of time to do damage, do all the execution, what do you need to do. Someone's head pops out at the wrong time, but look at this, Chihiro finally able to capitalise and gets another. I think that was a 4K on all in all for the Nomad, and well played from them. That was a lovely little play to get in, open up the site, and get the 2 roamers as well. All in all, good first round for Sonic Boom.
Yeah, not really able to slow down Sonic Boom at all. Funny enough, they were instantly available to hop inside of construction stairs through the outside area of like the back balcony. They immediately got the opening gunfight as a win against Stu's World, and that immediately forced Achieve Esports to have a majority of that extension actually fall back earlier than expected. We didn't see a lot of pressure actually inside of offices, or at least held that for that long, especially in the hands of Gingy. They were just by themselves. They knew they were kind of overstaying their welcome, and they had to relocate towards the site to have a better backup by Gingy, funny enough. And we're actually going to see a reattempt of Armory here for the side of Achieve Esports with the exact same lineup. And I'm not too sure if they just are trying to get the feelers still on Sonic Boom. Maybe they're going to try to change up their positioning perhaps, but maybe trying to go for a different site might be the better option. But hey, I'm hoping to be proven wrong perhaps.
Potentially, what it could be is they just think that, well, hey, we done like mistake one, which was just a domino effect, and that's maybe went wrong. Sometimes we don't know what goes on in these comms, and sometimes with the crazy strats that people come up with, I mean, hey, you know, who knows exactly what's going on. All in all, I do agree with you though. I have to agree. Like, I think another site would probably be better, but I think something that was described to me is most team strats nowadays are more like a kind of clock with lots of cogs that can be interchangeable. If that makes sense. A lot of times they literally just takes one adjustment and the strat starts to work. So I wonder if that's the case here for Achieve Esports.
So far for Sonic Boom, they are slightly changing up the pace of how they want to approach this. They actually have the Zofia moving all the way around. That's going to be Plaid trying to maybe catch somebody off guard if they're in that middle floor position on the roam game. But so far for Achieve, it's still going to be just that top floor extension and really nothing else to name so far. But still, it's instant control of construction stairs here for Sonic Boom, as no one's there to instantly pressure near that eastern balcony. And Arctics as well, playing underneath, could maybe go for a Chi grenade as those walls are actually opened up. So that can maybe give some sort of extra pressure to help Sonic Boom gather even more map control, and maybe even some sort of opening pick perhaps with that grenade if it lands properly.
Well, there is one stipulation that we can say. I mean, Border usually is attacker-sided, and potentially that's what we're seeing here. The Sledge opens up that castle barricade. Hixer actually capitalising and takes out the Wamai. I believe they were positioned in towards CCTV. I'm unsure, but there is a Jaeger trying to swing out, but can't quite do it. Yams, though, does take out Arctics.
Much better team play so far by Achieve Esports, having multiple people stacked up inside of offices and having those ADSs as well just to burn through that utility. That was probably one of the major issues we saw by the Sonic Boom, was just their lack of proper util usage towards the end of the round, but thankfully they were still able to win those vital gunfights. In this time, though, they only barely had the man advantage, while we proven wrong, as Plaid outside of the area near Archives will actually get another kill to their name. The exothermic charge down detonating as well, allowing another line of sight to be gathered here. Forces Stews back, maybe not expecting the hatch to be opened up. Now he'll have to go in some sort of flank, which basically leaves Yams isolated. And also to note, nobody's on the site. We could see a plant go down rather soon, perhaps, Cairo.
Perhaps is a good word though, because we don't know if the site has been cleared. It will be cleared now though, as Sonic Boom has found Bomb B and Bomb A, which means there's a drone in sight, but there's not a drone in CCTV, as Yams hasn't been found out and is able to pick up Hixer. The flank coming through from Stu's World does see one, and that was that Thermite going to try and attempt this plant right now, and I think it will be successful. There's no one to contest. Look at this, the Nomad so close to these two defenders, and look at Stu's able to get one. Two players are inside of that office area here, and 30 seconds remain.
Got Yams trying to get aggressive. Into that backup by Stu's World, though. They've got no clue where Plad's actually playing at. A third now for the Zofia, leaving just Stu's in the 1 versus 2. And the best part about planning in Archives is how effective you can sit outside during that post-plan position, but it will not be needed. Plaid still in the middle of Archives, gets a 4th to their name. And just like that, we've got a 2nd round in the books for Sonic Boom.
I liked the adjustment mid-round, the way they were done that. They realised, right, the site's open, we're actually just going to plant open and play for the outside areas. I mean, as you said, Border is especially good for that if you're one of those attackers. The only thing I didn't like about the full thing is the fact that the Thermite could actually get taken out by that Jaeger if he was just a split second faster on the reactions. And if that was the case, I mean, we could be staring down the barrel of a 1 each round count right now. Obviously, that's all if, buts, and maybes. It was a different scenario at the time. I believe it was still 3 versus 2 or 4 versus 2, so things could have flipped up entirely. But all in all, still a good round there by Sonic Boom. And here we go, 2-0. We head to Bathroom, and I'm going to ask you a question, Phil. What do you think of the new Bathroom site?
Probably one of the better sites that you can actually select from. There are still some major issues with it, being that there is a good chance for vertical play, and you have to kind of hold almost every part of the map in some sort of viable manner, because if you can keep control of customs, for example, you've got that long angle you can hold all the way down to the double door, leading in to stop a plant from happening, because most people will tend to try to actually plant in towers unless there's a very small amount of site presence by the defense. So you have to really be methodical about your entire setup to basically every little meticulous bit about it, which if there's one small mistake that can be made by your defense, Sonic Boom, if they notice that, they can capitalize off of that and maybe get away with much more than what they probably had anticipated moving in around number 3.
Meticulous is a great word, and I mean, both teams need to be meticulous. We need to see Sonic Boom actually identify those mistakes if there is any arisen. Seems as if we have got one player that has extended all the way through and to the other side of the map from the site, which is an interesting one, considering that, I mean, it's an important position, but I don't know if it's so important you'd invest so much reinforcements. I don't know, I'm not a strategist, I just talk about the game for fun. It seems as if we are going to get some cheesy stuff coming through here from the Zofia, trying to get peek through that window and getting anything. Already we are seeing East go into control of these attackers, and they're attacking furiously, trying to see if they can get these picks. Lots of information, and it seems as if the same castle strat has been coming through. They're trying to spray down on towards the east hallway, can't get anything, but the information is being gained. Chihiro getting some damage, a trade coming through there on towards 2 different bodies, but the man count is still 4 each.
When Nate almost gets rid of Stews, He's thankfully able to survive that, though. Still able to hold out inside of CCTV. And we have Yams not dealt with fully either, although a simple crossfire could probably do the trick here. Not many options left for the lone alibi, and eventually they will meet their impending doom by the hands of Hixer. 4 versus 3 now. Sonic Boom will retake the lead, and they spot out Gingy in a very open position. There is a Nitro Cell to respond, but it's still that man advantage favoring Sonic Boom, despite the fact we had a C4 find at least somebody near the top of main stairs.
Nope. We are back towards an advantage position. Stu's World still alive as that castle, and we do have the mute. Nothing in terms of secondary utility in pocket. I think that was to actually try and attempt with a thermite charge to do the kind of trick that you usually do when you place it beside, but it's not worked out, leaving the hatch closed. So with that being said, it seems as if it is going to have to be gunfights for those players. We have 2 Flores drones available and Zofia utility. I believe that's the last 2 stuns remaining. Badger in sight. Castle in towards customs. And I don't know if the information is there. No, it's not. The Flores jumps in unknowingly, getting picked up. Played does get a trade. We're into a 1 versus 1. Badger versus Played.
And there is plenty of angles that Badger can kind of work with and force Played to make that first move. All they do is just sit and wait quite patiently here. Played, I believe, has the information on where the mute is actually positioned at, kind of near the rotate hole. The Gersmont, the lifeline concussive blast will actually give away this mute's position, but they'll just remain so patient here. But Played, he's got that LMG. All he's got to do is just hold down M1, and eventually the mute will fall. A 3rd round in a row here for Sonic Boom, and although things got close, they still ended it out with a solid victory.
I mean, fellow, what happens now? 3 rounds in a row, Sonic Boom have won in a row. If you're Achieve Esports, what are you saying in the comms? Because all I can think of is almost like I'm not saying a Zerg rush effect, but something similar in the fact that they just have to keep trying sites now and try to find something that works. Ventilation room and workshop hasn't been tried yet, so we're just kind of cycling sites to try and find a winning formula. How do you even change things for Sonic Boom? Because they seem to be getting the answer every single time.
Well, I think in terms of maybe just over positioning, that could be one thing, perhaps, kind of knowing when you need to give away some of that map control. I know it seems like you almost never want to do that, but sometimes wanting to go for those 50-50 gunfights is not the right call, especially on a site like Tellers and Bathroom, where you can really force the attack to be in an uncomfortable position, no matter what they want to go for. And maybe if we had someone like Yams, who, don't get me wrong, did not expect to lose that gunfight near metal detector, if they had maybe fallen down in the hatch and ventilation and could have been more proactive towards the latter end of that action phase, we might have seen a completely different storyline, as again, things did come down to a 1 versus 1, but I guess we'll never know, and maybe Achieve will try their best moving into a brand new site, and hopefully this one could potentially give them the first round of hopefully many more to come towards the rest of this first half.
Here we go, fellow. An interesting one. Player that we don't usually see oh so often. We're actually seeing an IQ being brought here. And IQ doesn't usually actually get brought. I mean, for any site, it's pretty much a niche pick nowadays. Obviously can get information by pinging through the floors. But all in all, the IQ is considered to be one of the kind of niche operators that gets brought, and kind of is situational and depends on what site the kind of defenders are playing. And I don't know if Vents is the right choice for an IQ. Here, we might find out.
Well, normally you would want to bring something like a Pulse, perhaps, and still have a very big emphasis on having that proper intel game. So I don't really think the IQ is a horrendous pick, but definitely not in the meta, more or less situational. But at least it's nice to see, especially with the attacker repick as an option. We have the Electro Claw catching at least one Selma, but eventually it goes away, gets picked up, I believe, to be by Gingy. Yep, that'll be correct. And that will allow the rest of this wall leading into detention to get opened up. So some slight map control could be in the books for Sonic Boom later on, but they still have to worry about the rest of the map and not just detention for the time being.
I think there was another drone destroyed there as it came through in towards site. Only 2 drones remain here for Sonic Boom, which is almost catastrophic considering there is half the round still left and 2 roamers upstairs that haven't been dealt with. This could be, I mean, the first Achieve Esports round that we will see, just because of how bad the intel actually is for Sonic Boom. Right enough, they might be playing off old intel, but it seems as if they haven't even droned the player in customs as they enter here. This could really go wrong as they move through. It's Gingy to hold things down. The trigger discipline's huge, gets one, but there isn't a player nearby. don't know if they're trying to contest through the soft wall. They're trying to breach through it with ace charges, but Gingy's managing to stay alive here, fellow.
A good fallback indeed by the Kaid. Plenty of long angles you can hold, and you'll most likely be able to hear the audio call in case someone works to your left, so not a bad position at all for Gingy in this 5 versus 4. Tries to get a bit aggressive to maybe work a 5-on-3, but they will now have to reposition once again. Still, the lack of major map control here by Sonic Boom. I don't think they've even cleared the top floor, so we could see vertical be a point of contention here for the defense, and now that Gingy opens up with yet another kill, things are just looking dire and dire as we continue down these last 30 seconds.
Last 30 seconds remain, and here we go. All the gunfights coming out. We're actually going to try and attempt a plant here. No one protecting this. And it's all up to one player left. Achieve Esports cleaning things up, sweeping all those bodies under the carpet, and doing a great job for the first round. And maybe this is just an attacker-sided border. That's a narrative that we haven't actually explored yet. Sonic Boom, if that is the case, you need one more round to even be considered, I guess, a good half, if that is to be the case. But right now, we are going to have to see Armory, Lockers, and Archives, where we've seen it twice before, and twice before Sonic Boom have won.
Yeah, we haven't seen all that much success by the defense except for that last round where we didn't really see any map control, but moving in from our past knowledge of seeing Armory in play, Sonic Boom have been completely 110% when they try to go in for that instant map control. They've gotten construction stairs pressure almost immediately that allows them to work a pick, start breaking down those castle barricades, and just slowly dwindling away at what Achieve Esports is trying to throw at them in terms of stall potential. And we really haven't seen Sonic Boom stall at all for this top floor. They've gotten the execution down near that minute 20-minute mark, which is fantastic, especially for a map like Border, where again you have to waste a lot of time clearing through those extensions, but it doesn't really seem like that's been much of a problem for Sonic Boom, at least for every other round but the fourth one.
Trying to have a look here, see exactly what differences we are seeing from Achieve Esports on this setup, and if I'm being honest here, there isn't really much here, Phil. I don't know if you can see anything that I'm not seeing. I mean, maybe it will be different in the way that they're played, but they do the same castle setup that they do every single time in CCTV. They've got again, they've got that kind of 90 what do you call it, that 90 shield that we're seeing right here, emphasised by our observer, thank you very much. There's a couple of ADSs to support that, but all in all, there's nothing crazy here that I would say, oh, this is the winning formula, this is the winning adaptation, which worries me even more.
For Sonic Boom as well, they actually have a floors on the board, which could potentially even speed up the process of clearing out this extension. Yeah, instantly, that one shield you had to rely on for such a long time is now already gone in the first 40 seconds, and you could potentially open up some sightlines as well if some of these walls are actually left soft, but nope, their Terrigen will only be left to break some vital information of that bulletproof camera, but still, a quick start by Sonic Boom once again, and really nothing has been keeping them at bay so far besides these castle barricades, but it's only a matter of time before they break down these as well.
Yeah, I'm seeing this. They've got the Rooney gates on those castle barricades, but realistically, you're only going to get one burn off that. I mean, all in all, this is still the same setup at its very core. And yes, adaptations will still stay similar to that. But like, look at this. There we go. The wall's going to get open just straight away. Sonic Boom are making things even slicker. There's one team adapting, and it's actually just the attack. Oh, that was nice work there to try and get that Cade Claw back on. But it's quickly disposed of, and that wall will be opened now.
Well, for Zach, he doesn't have any more thermite charges, so now they have to funnel in through the actual doorway leading into Archives. They cannot open up that back office wall to actually enter the site next to the bomb chassis directly. So this could allow for a better funnel effect, for Achieve Esports. And actually, that might give them a fighting chance, especially since they still haven't lost any bodies just yet. And now we're dipping towards this final minute once again, Cairo. And for once, we don't have Sonic Boom opening up with any kill just yet. And still a majority of this extension is still alive and well. Up until now, though, Artix finally gets that first gunfight, spots at a second. Senpai's caught on the prone. Badger's there to trade, but the damage has already been done.
Damage has been done, and we've got a two-man advantage. Make it only one. Nope, it's regained. And the last remaining player is Stews once again, and this time they're off site. Going to try and attempt this plan. I don't know if there's any information to deny from below, but with 30 seconds remaining, you'd imagine there is still plenty of time to reposition. And well, there we go. That fourth round, Sonic Boom, we're seeing Sonic Boom needed, has been gained. One more round, and we're really looking at a good half from Sonic Boom. 4-1 the scoreline. And what is going to be the site this time?
I really couldn't imagine it being Armory. Yeah, they have found no success on that top floor every single time in play. Even when adding slightly more utility, it just didn't match up against Sonic Boom. Again, having that attacker repick does allow you to get away with more trickery on the offense, so you really have to have everything, including the kitchen sink, thrown at the offense to try to waste their time. And I like the change here, finally around number 6, to have the Goyo implemented. I talked about the stall potential, and Goyo's Vulcan packs are a phenomenal way of doing that. I believe it's 20 seconds a piece, and you get 4 in total. So again, on a very extension-based site like Bathroom and Tellers, you could put those Vulcans around pretty much any part of the map, have them popped, and that burns a huge chunk of time off the clocks of Sonic Boom. But so far, it looks like the Goyo will just be trying to put them all near the site to deny any sort of plant position that could be attempted by Sonic Boom later in the round.
Have you heard about what everyone's calling the new Goyo gadget?
Oh my god, I know Emmy called it something like funny on the broadcast, but I really can't remember.
Hot Pockets.
Oh right, yeah. She posted on Twitter, but I couldn't remember what the hell it was called. Yeah.
it's like the Melissa Wub Wubs. I think it's absolutely perfect for what they're called. It's honestly amazing. But with that being said, so the kitchen site. What am I talking about? It's the bathroom site that we're on right now. This site last time did come down to that 1 versus 1, if you remember. It was actually quite a good defense fellow, and when that stuff comes down, it's maybe just a flip of the coin. But up until that point, up until that 1 versus 1, it was mistakes being made by Sonic Boom at the end that actually led to that 1 versus 1. I'm thinking of that. Like jumping in through the window when you don't have information, trying to take gunfights when you probably shouldn't. I think that Sonic Boom should be comfortable in this round, and already the information gained is perfect.
Already have Arctic stepping up in Fountain. Pretty close to Archives as well. There is a shield for some natural coverage for Yams, but besides that, there is not much left here to stand. Maybe potential refrag if required for the defense. Arctics will actually have to fall back. They're waiting on some more backup here by the rest of their teammates. A good call to make is if you lose somebody as important as that Finka so early in the round, a whole set of grenades, this adrenaline surge is now completely popped off as well. That could be a huge upset, but what also is an upset is having that Zofia gone as well, one of your many LMGs, and now that allows so much more to be done here for the defense on this top floor.
Do they know that one player is in towards Africa? That could easily make for another one of those mistakes. The swing comes through perfectly, finding that headshot there. And well, Chihiro is going to have to try and contest in from Metal. Can't even find one. Senpai doing the work here. This is looking like another achieved round. It seems as if they've shored up him well. They have found what they needed to find. Hicks are stuck on the east stairs. It seems as if Zach, I don't know where he is just now. I imagine he'll be doing work upstairs. Yes, there he is, up in towards offices, trying to find picks, but can't get anything. There is information on player downstairs. Hickser will grab that. That was onto Gingy. That was a good pick there. I'm trying to see if there's anybody on site, but there's nothing, fellow. Absolutely nothing has been given away at the moment.
And then Badger, of course. Not gonna really think they'd want to check that corner. They still have a whole chunk of the extension to deal with, first and foremost. Only 40 seconds left as well. If we just have complete and utter patience by Achieve Esports, they could just win this round out just via suffocation of that timer. There goes the grenade. Senpai is able to dodge it. A Nitro Cell gets popped out as well, but it's not going to connect onto a single soul. Still that 4 versus 2, with Zach needing to win this gunfight, but no, he actually opts for the other option, just dropping down the hatch, going for a pre-fire, but it's not going to find anything. Gets up close and personal against Badger, and that shotgun is going to win almost all day, every day, leaving just Hickser in the 1vx, and he's caught in a crossfire, leaving Achieve to take their second round, moving out of the first half.
That was nice play there at the end. Finally, we see Achieve Esports doing the work, but there's a full 2-half in favour of the attackers. Now we find out if it's true. Is this actually going to be an attacker-sided border, which we tend to expect? Looking at the lineup here from the defence, and it's somewhat similar to what we saw in the first half. I think the only difference being is the Melusi's being brought this time rather than a Wamai, an extra catcher. So maybe that's to catch out anybody trying to sneak into sight, sneak into a kind of advantageous position for these attackers. 4-2 though is quite a commendable scoreline at the minute for Sonic Boom.
Hey, for Sonic Boom, though, I'm really wondering what kind of Roam extension they want to implement. They still have the Siri gates, which kind of fit the same niche as a Castle Barricade, except you can just kind of see through them. That's all. Having both is nice as well, just to kind of stack up on two sets of heavy util, but maybe having more of that frag power and late game information via those Banshees could be something to help out towards the actual site presence itself. And from what it looks to be, we've got Sonic Boom actually maybe trying to heavily hold Armory. They've got a shield stacked up kind of near that semi lockers and blue half wall position. So maybe they are expecting more of a play leading in for more of that rank kind of default plant, whether instead of that like more office position that you see inside of comp. Who really knows? But at least they still have some sort of emphasis towards the other side of the map, leaving an office game. That triple wall popped up, and I would assume having a couple of Siri gates and maybe somebody playing in CCTV just to prolong that position as well, and not put all their eggs into one basket, because that's never a good option.
I've always wondered, why would you put all your eggs in one basket? Like, you know what I mean? Like, surely you've got a couple baskets. You know, is that? You ever thought about that?
Just trying to be show off. That's just what it is.
Yeah.
Thinking
Do
they're
you know what
super
it is?
strong.
Yeah. Do you know what that's the equivalent of? It's the equivalent of when like the teacher says, "Can you take all the chairs back?" So you decide to like pick up all the chairs and try and carry them back. You know what I'm talking about back in like school?
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
Say, what do you call it? I don't think I've ever been in that position, but maybe we got someone in chat who knows what that's like. Anyways, though, back into the round itself, we've got Gingy already inside of Con. I'm really surprised that we've had nobody try to like actively hold this position. No one trying to go for a Nitro Cell kill early on by gathering some information with either some sort of Prisma or just a default cam. And because nobody has expected Gingy to be in this position so early, he actually wins the opening duel against Played, and that's an instant 5-on-4 favoring Achieve as they now get ready to fully clear out CCTV, and I believe they've done that. So as Artix will have to drop, rotate around into the main stairs, and Gingy now gets a second kill on the round as he's still just sitting quite comfortable on construction stairs.
Comfortable indeed, and it seems as if all these players are just getting picked away. Look at this, with a minute and 15 into this round here, and right now, Achieve Esports are absolutely rampant. Look how much map control they've got. If I'm a defender, I'd be feeling claustrophobic right now. Hixer trying to hold down metal stairs right now with that MP5, but how much work can you actually do, considering look at the crossfire that's shutting out, moving any further. I mean, that makes sure that the players outside of office are clear. If you hit... Oh, this is considering that they are going to hit their shots and pick up that kill. There's information on that player as well. All in all, right now, Sonic Boom really have no option to retake and take gunfights apart from that long range one. Just misses out. Gingy getting picked up though. Maybe this is actually more winnable than I think.
Zach is very low in HP, so a potential trade is imminent. Yep, that's exactly what happened. Senpai tosses out a perfect nade. That's going to connect right onto the body of Zach, now leaving just Artix and Hixer in a very tricky situation. I believe both of them are rather far away from one another. Nope, they're actually playing pretty buddy-buddy inside of Army next to Africa, and also the doorway leading into the small office or small break area. So they can potentially have crossfires established to stop this push leading into Archives, but besides that, having the alibi on such little HP and having a really good chance of just the offense playing for trades and trying to get that plant down in the key position next to the A bomb chassis. This does leave very little options left for Sonic Boom because they're just not in a good position, to put it bluntly. Now the plant's going down. There's no one here to stop it. No denial of any way, shape, or form. So we're going to be guaranteed in that post-plant position with such a heavy advantage here favoring Achieve. There is some sort of kill favoring Artix. There's something for your troubles, but you can't even enter the other site. There's a long angle being held by the Zofia of Yams. They can just hold down M1 and just let that LMG sing. They find Artix leaving just Hixer left to stand. They're also low in HP, and they meet the exact same fate as their teammate that just died a few breaths away from them, giving the first attacking round here for the side of Achieve pretty early on from what I probably expected.
A lot earlier than what I expected. Sonic Boom just... I don't like to see this. Sonic Boom looked lost in that round. constantly giving away picks, constantly not being able to refrag. They just seemed as if they'd given up everything. Achieve Esports, maybe not the best border defense team, but they certainly looked like a border attack team. My God, it was surgical. It was like having, well, not maybe not SEAL Team 6, but certainly SEAL Team 5 all across border, eliminating their opponents. It was really, really good work from them, and we'll need to see if this continues throughout the half. As I'm not quite sure if we caught what. Oh no, it's going to be a reattempt of Armory.
Oh, we've had both teams now try to stick to their guns here on Armory. I think the one thing by Sonic Boom is they just kind of got caught off guard, really, and they did not really expect that immediate aggression that we saw by Achieve. I mean, again, their map control was instant. Gingy opened up with 2 huge kills, and that just kind of set the pace of the remainder of that round completely. There was really no moment where I thought, okay, Sonic Boom can come back in this position, because they just weren't able to. They were trapped inside of Armory. There were crossfires and long cutoff angles being held by Achieve Esports. There was really no option for them once we turned things down in that 4v2 and the roam game was completely gone. It was just two lone anchors trying to make ends meet when they couldn't even get any proper sight lines to actually stop anybody from entering the bomb site of Archives.
Well, it seems as if CCTV and security might be another point of contention, another point of entry here for Sonic Boom. Maybe they'll turn their eyes to it later. Going to get that default cam, the standard one that is on East. I think that's the first to go every single attack. Everyone knows where that pre-fire is. But do Sonic Boom know to pre-fire onto East stairs? There was a player just sitting there, a little bit of a rodent infestation here for Sonic Boom on that east side, but no, has rotated away and went towards the metal stairs. Fair play to them. And it seems as if this is going to continue for Achieve Esports to roam clear through in towards this extension. Most of the players in towards offices. The Rotero drone displacing the alibi, and then there we go. A nice pickup from that window, and it makes everything nice and easy. A minute left and still plenty of work to do, but I mean, you've still got a minute to do it.
Total collapse leading a CCTV, but oh, what a lineup by Zach. There goes 2 players drop dead from a singular nitro cell. Gingy will try to avenge his fallen brethren, but I mean, that grenade is not going to find much besides the mute jammer that can open up the back wall, since the ace is still alive, or at least the Selmas were deployed before he ended up falling by the nitro cell. I was a bit off there, but that still does open up that small part of the map. And as Zach tries to go for a run out, he'll get caught at a bad time and punished for his actions. We have the Aruni trying to swing wide, making sure that he can maybe pick up that mute later on and not force a 2 versus 3 position. They'll trade a bit of damage between themselves and Gingy. But besides that, that's still technically a 2 versus 3 position, but we just need to see at least one more kill worked off here by Achieve, because things are far from over for the offense.
Trying to see all this information here on the player in fountain. The swing comes through. The shot's just not quite connecting, just doing damage. And actually, Chihiro gives themselves up to Stu's world. 2 versus 2 now. And well, I mean, the pool of HP on both teams, not looking great. Remember, this is the one-shot mechanic game. They know exactly where that Melusi is. They saw them just on the half wall, a reposition towards office. Actually kind of does big work here. Don't know if they'll know exactly where things are. Going to try and displace their Rooney, forcing them back. Wonder if they're going to go towards east. Here we go, a break in towards site. It actually picks up that Melusi, and that was a player that was on full HP. It's now all up to their Rooney, but no, not like this. Stews just walks by the hatch, not checking what was happening. The plant is going to be attempted, and I think it will be successful as the Rooney comes up towards metal stairs. Can get through the Rooney gate. Both players on low HP. One spray, saw the feet of the sledge, knows exactly where he is, and the swing comes through, and Gingy wins it out. Great crosshair placement like this. There we go. And because they were on such low HP, the shoulder shot works out for the sledge.
And I think one thing to look at there for Achieve Esports was how structured they were to get that position inside of CCTV. They had multiple angles being held, was both near the eastern balcony, having somebody out near the doorway leading a CCTV from the backwards balcony, and they had Stu's World out on the CCTV window as well. There was just no escape for Arctics that guaranteed the opening pick, and it didn't matter that they lost 2 people via that nitro cell because they had time to refrag, and they still had an opening leading into office, so it was just not a complete funnel into the side of the defense, and they were still able to work a bunch of picks. Not to mention as well, towards the end part of that round, we had Stu's World able to isolate the Aruni, forcing her to fall back, and that also allowed a 1 versus 1 conversion to favor Achieve, and that was honestly just a huge tide changer for Achieve to now completely equalize going into round number 9.
It was so unfortunate though. I was thinking of the Rooney going by that office window, just saw the feet of the sledge. There must have been some information because we got pings onto the sledge's positioning. I mean, one spray through that soft wall could have rung true and maybe even won the round. It's all night. It's all good in hindsight right now. But another attempt of Army here, fellow. Do you think after that last round that I mean, it was such a successful attempt? Do you think it kind of calls for another reattempt, or do you think that you would still try another site if this was you?
Well, the lineup here is much different for the set of Sonic Boom. They've got more denial to stop a plant if it does end up going down, and they have both the castle and Aruni. So more time is going to be spent clearing out those panels and probably forcing back the defense. And maybe if we see the exact same clear happen by Achieve Esports where they want to focus on CCTV first and foremost, maybe we'll have the fallback happen much earlier. And it looks like that's going to be the storyline for right now. The Rotero drone gets popped in through, the shield being destroyed near the middle of 90, and Arctix, now expecting a bit of pressure, actually tries to get aggressive, maybe catch somebody in a bad position. They're playing kind of near the vending machine, slash fridge area, holding down a pixel angle. But if someone works around towards that eastern balcony, he could get caught in a bad spot. But no, it's the other way around. Arctix wins the first engagement, and now he's just kind of playing in a do or die position right now, Cairo.
He really is having to play his life, and he's playing it well. Just as I say that, though, Arctix will finally trade him out. But with that being said here, that was such a nice play by the alibi of Arctix. Nobody able to capitalize. Oh no, the Jaeger being stunned here, not being able to actually, I guess, get it denied. The stun being denied. A nice kill there from onto Chihiro. Just aggressive, far too much. Gingy's picked up, played, and Achieve Esports have really found their footing in this round so far. Sonic Boom, I just feel as if they had that position and they didn't need to keep a hold of CCTV. They could have dropped off. Well, but that being said, Achieve Esports now really can propel themselves forward from here.
Still 2 nades. Plenty of flash grenades as well, and also regular drones too, and a singular Rotero, so there is a lot on the drawing board here for Achieve Esports, and where we still have Sonic Boom holding a couple of good angles. We've got Zach maybe looking all the way down into 90 corner through the doorway of Archives, and we've got Hixer holding a deep angle as well into Army with that Alda. I mean, the main advantage, it's still substantial, favoring Achieve Esports, and there we have it. Zach now gone as well, leaving just Hixer on a prone position, trying to stop this plant from going down, or at least the bomb site being entered from Fountain, leading into Archives. There is a lot here for this lone Italian operator to actually try to make ends meet. There is 40 seconds left, though, which gives him time to maybe reposition, go on some sort of hero play. But as the Rotero drone forces him even deeper into Armory, it's only a matter of time before we see this plant go down by Gingy.
Well, we are going to start that 45-second timer right now as it starts to tick. The timer now in the favour of these attackers. They can just sit and wait and look pretty. Hixer trying to pre-fire everywhere, does have the Aldo in hand, and it's the right weapon to pre-fire, but at the same time though, it's not hitting the shot. Stu's finally finishing that out, and it seems if Achieve Esports will take the advantage here moving forward. 5-4 the scoreline now. Will we see Armory once again? Hopefully not by Sonic Boom. It seems as if we actually do have some sort of tech pause here, fellow. So with that being said, I mean, right so far, we've been seeing some good siege.
I mean, especially in the attack, yeah, that's a complete guarantee. We've seen much better team play. Although we did have the alibi kind of get away at robbery there, not expecting her to get overly aggressive. We probably imagined, at least for Achieve, that she would have fallen back when she saw people start opening up those back doorways leading to CCTV, but no, she actually tried getting some sort of kill on that entry roll, and it did actually work out for a little while, but then the rest of her team really could not pick up the slack there, and that allowed the exact same storyline to be had once again for Achieve, where they just get good map control, good pacing, and they have a man advantage to boot as well, so there isn't really much that, you know, one lone defender can do in a 1vx when they've got really nothing to help them out. So it's nice to see that comeback there by Achieve, but yeah, I'm really hoping we don't see Archives for now a 4th time in a row. I believe to be looking back at my notes because it just is not working out right now for Sonic Boom.
It really isn't working out for Sonic Boom. I don't think they've won a round in this half just yet. 3 in a row here. Well, technically 4 in a row, actually, if you consider the last half as well. It just seems as if Achieve Esports have found their group, found their rhythm. I mean, that attacking half was nothing short of pretty stellar. I think that's the best way to describe it. Bathroom Tellers and is going to be the next site to try and reattempt. And we've not seen this one yet. Maybe it will pose a different threat to the side of Achieve Esports here. But I mean, how successful have been 3 different types of plays on Harmony. I think it can maybe you could maybe argue that it probably will end up with the same result.
Potentially. I mean, the one good thing you can have for Sonic Boom is maybe that Achieve Esports begins to maybe get a bit tunnel vision, perhaps. They forget about one key part of the map, and that could allow you to kind of fall back on having more of a first floor presence in comparison to the second floor, because the general roam game has not been there for a very long time for Sonic Boom. It's been immediately cleared out by Achieve Esports, whether they kind of pincer in and collapse upon one person as they don't have enough time to fall back, or they just give themselves enough time and util to pretty much put Sonic Boom in a position where they have to fall back unless they want to die. So either way, it's going to come down to more of that late round position, most likely by Sonic Boom, unless they can have some sort of miracle play work again for Artix, where he just catches somebody off guard and almost finds a 2K.
Well, hopefully we will see more heroics in this point out, but seems if we are going to get a lineup up towards that east side. It seems, is it east side? Yeah, it's the east side. What am I talking about? It's border. Everybody enters from the east side. It's like Library and Chalet, and it seems to be contested as if it's Library. Arctic's spraying out there. There's some holes on towards the opposite side, the north side. But the difference is there's information on Arctics. They know he's down. They're going to try and spray through, try and collect that kill. Can't do so just yet. And there it is. Gingy will confirm it now. 5 versus 4 from the outset is not good.
Arctic's not able to get the heroic play as he probably had envisioned on that round. We almost had Senpai try to think about going some sort of cheeky rush in, perhaps, but they'll think better of it and wait for their teammates to get that vertical pressure down, maybe opening up the hatch as well to weaken that pressure leading into bathroom, and that can allow for a much easier push in through tellers to get that plant down. But of course, if you have the extension, as most teams will do inside of customs, there is that long line of sight you need to worry about, which completely denies a default plant from happening. So it's not completely over just yet, despite the fact Achieve Esports have already accomplished a lot in this first half of the action phase.
Actually have achieved a lot. It seems as if the extension is still there. There's still traps lying in wait for Achieve Esports right now. The thing is, though, is they have plenty of information on that lobby area. There's one of the traps that's been sprung. Chihiro actually picking up Gingy. There goes the sledge. There is the Flores to do work here. And the players inside of the kind of customs area, I think they're going to be the biggest kind of part of this defense so far. There's still a minute left, and they've not been cleared out. I don't even know if there's information on them yet.
Not too sure either. As we get closer and closer towards this final execution here by Achieve Esports, things are definitely not looking all that well for them. The Selma wall will themselves will activate, pardon, and open up the back wall, leading into tellers. And there is still a very strong presence both in ventilation and also inside of custom as well. The mute actually falls back, but Played is still not in a really bad predicament. They could always just go for the trade or at least spring into action later in the round. Still a bunch being done here by Achieve Esports on that top floor, and they really don't have that many more seconds to spare. But a well-tossed nade gets rid of Zact. Now that plant can be attempted, but is there proper coverage to stop anyone from customs? No. No one's actually playing close to the metal detector. They've got no idea that the plant has gone down. We're now in the post, and Achieve Esports are still looking top-notch. Stews gets rid of Hixer. We've got Badger killing one off screen, leaving just Played in the 1 versus 3, and in a very bad spot to win this one out, and it's not going to happen at all. Stews catches them from the backside, entering vent, and there we have it. Achieve Esports fully redeem themselves and win yet another on their attacks.
And they move now on towards map point. First map point of this series. And well, the thing is, though, I thought with those 2 players kind of extended through and towards, I think one was construction, one was customs, or maybe we were both customs. I thought they would have the angle all the way through on towards site. The footholes would have been made, and that door in towards customs would have been open, but it wasn't the case. it just wasn't the case. And that was the biggest, I think, fault in that setup. Even after they lost that first initial player upstairs all alone on an island, bathroom tellers attempted once again. When does Sonic Boom just, I don't even know. It feels as if that was a decent defense. They just made that key mistake, but will they identify this key mistake on their defense?
Not too sure if they're going to be able to, really. They had the idea of what they needed to hold in terms of map control, but didn't utilize the whole point of having that map control. Having customs in your pocket for a defender is not just to have the roam game still be alive after you fall back from the top floor. No, it's to stop a plant from going down and not just have that be held via the site pressure itself. It's very dangerous to play directly inside of tellers, so you need that
Oh, yeah.
proxy effect to happen. So not having your player in customs get hyper aggressive and stop that plant from going down seems really concerning, almost as if Sonic Boom were not fully prepared for actually stacking up on this map, or maybe just the poor communication slash timing was there. I'm not really too sure, but just something needs to change for sure, because something on the defense is just not up to snuff here for Sonic Boom.
I'm wanting to see if it is up to snuff anytime soon. That's the worrying part as well. It needs to be perfect. You can't lose this round. You can't. I mean, there's no margin for error here for Sonic Boom, and that's the hard thing because there's been plenty of it, and it's sometimes a hard thing to admit. I know they've already seen the upstairs map control has been gained. The Malusi is in that armory area. The drone's already given that info on the position of the Malusi. Not really relocating too much here. I think they have actually impacted in the hatch and dropped in towards construction. But again, it's that key map control again, fellow. Is there going to be the lines of sight into like the actual place where the plant's going to be?
Having these OSA shields as well is pretty interesting to see as well. That can allow for some longer ranges to potentially be hold out for a little while, have those cutoffs established. Um, Again, the map control is looking fairly decent here for Achieve, and if they maybe even get rid of certain players inside of ventilation, that could allow for just the instant man advantage, which we have seen from time to time by Achieve Esports. And also they could maybe go for a slightly different attacking style and maybe want to go for a bathroom plant, and that's something that a lot of teams don't actually expect when going on border. So if they remove these players like Hixer, for example, who kind of overextend and lose their life early on, that could completely change the dynamic of how this round plays out. But no, the exact opposite happens. Hixer will catch Badger in a pretty rough predicament, and that will actually give Sonic Boom this opening gunfight as a win rather than the other way around.
And look at that adaptation. The castle barricade is actually gone there. You just seen it to face in towards those footholds. I think they've actually realised what's went wrong. Zach, though, on his belly, looking to see if he can get any angles onto a player. A sledge that's doing all the work. Oh no, they're the ones that's going to get picked up though. Gingy just managing to catch them out. All the castle barricades gone, and there is absolutely no sort of stoppages here from the defense apart from guns when stopping this plant.
Oh, here's Chichiro though. I get aggressive. Not able to find anything just yet, but still wasting plenty of valuable time. We've got Gingy maybe opting to go around, go for a nade toss instead. You've got the Hammerman, just throw it to the wall of Passport, and you're going to find a sight light on him, forcing two angles to be held. But no, Chihiro tosses the C4 way too wide to connect on a one, but thankfully the headshot is clean onto Gingy, able to equalize. Once again, Hixer holding this long angle, able to deal plenty of damage, and no one's looking at this guy. Finally, Chihiro falls, but it's far too late. There's only 2 seconds left. Senpai has to get aggressive, and he has no idea where the final defender's playing at. Sonic Boom finally get around on their second half, but man, it took them such a long time, and they're still looking down the gun barrel of map point.
And on top of that, you're looking at this right now. Sonic Boom, even if they win this round, have to go to OT. And I mean, I don't actually know what kind of what the map ban's like. I can probably go and check right now. But I'm telling you, this fellow, this could really still be in the favour of Achieve Esports. This could still be one of those maps where even after you get to overtime, you still have to face down the barrel of a gun of a double attack or a double defensive overtime, or you have to kind of look down the barrel of a gun of just constant constant things going against you, and that's the thing that worries me the most here for Sonic Boom. This has to be a massive round here. It has to come up dubs, and I don't know if it will.
Not too sure either, especially on a bomb site like ventilation. It's a very tricky one to try to hold off properly. Again, you can still have those extensions. Normally, that leads up into Army, for example. You can sometimes hold CCTV as well, but it's just a very awkward map to hold, especially since, unlike Bathroom, the site presence here on ventilation is really difficult to hold. You kind of have to just sit around the objective room rather than playing it directly, where at least with Bathroom, you can do that, unlike, of course, Pellers itself. But still, there's so much of the map you have to worry about for Sonic Boom. You kind of need to spread yourself a little thin. But one thing that could potentially remedy that is having Artix actually on the Oryx, allowing him to have high mobility throughout the entire round, could maybe help apply pressure in certain spots of the map where it's needed most to make sure nobody dies early on, or at least if that happens, there's potential for a flank to get that refrag and, of course, great equalization.
Right, well, again, it will be that alluded east side entry, already gaining control of east stairs to make sure that no one from below can pop up the zills, castle barricades to delay any sort of push, give information if maybe it goes to more of a horizontal take. But as we already know, things usually go up top first, and Chihiro knows that. Getting a trade already, but it was just this Zof. I don't know if that was the best pick in the world, but I did a pick nonetheless. The Eager off the board, there's no utility in pocket for them. Everything placed, and I believe there was one on top metal. Yes, there is. There might be not for much longer, as there's only the castle down. And I think that's a need to pick that kill up. Yes, it is. Advantage achieve esports.
Barb down as well. And that top floor pressure completely gone. And now Gingy has all the time in the world to start putting that hammer down and kind of renovating border as he pleases. So that allows a bunch to be done here in these next few moments, kind of forcing some of them again just farther back into the map and putting them in more dangerous positions. Zach is completely spotted out by a drone, yellow pinging him. He now has to reposition and not able to utilize toxic smokes right now because they're just kind of out in the open. This does lead to a lot of issues, but I think Artix has spotted a perfect molt potentially to rotate around. Nope, the call's been given, but all right, Senpai, just gonna sprint into Artix. It happens, but I thought the call was given by Achieve that the Oryx had actually moved up the top metal, but no, nobody has a clue of this man's location. Finally, there's a refrag, but 2 kills still favoring Artix. Man, that's gotta sting for Achieve.
It does have to sting. They know there's a smoke in here. There is no way that they don't know. They've seen the head. The spam comes through. Nothing's picked up. Just a little bit of chip damage for Zach. More Flores Jones to try and push the smoke into a position where they can pick it up. Oh no, what is happening here? The smoke repositioning on towards the window. There's only one player really contesting as the other holds the exit. There could be no refrags here, which means we could easily see a kill. No, we don't. Zach escapes out with a slither of HP. 1 HP in a dream. 30 seconds remain. The plan needs to go down soon.
Good fallback by Zach, though. Still able to have this even position. That was mostly the point of those smokes, just to waste time and allow himself to retreat deeper into ventilation, perhaps to play around played the person who's actually on full HP in this position. But 15 seconds, now even less than that on the clock here. We've got to see that plant most likely go down because there's just no information to actually find out where these people are playing at. Almost spots ahead of one, but Stews is able to have great coverage, rotates around, gets caught by Played, and now 1 versus 1. Badger, knowing where Played is, could maybe rotate. They'll do exactly that, using this natural coverage, but no! They open up at just the worst time possible. Played simply doesn't lose those, and they've got more than enough time left to defuse. It looks like we're heading to overtime, Cairo, as Achieve just are not able to lock it out in regulation.
OT, baby, the 3-round shootout between these two teams, and I'm wondering what are the sides. Seems as if we are seeing Sonic Boom on the attack, which you could argue favours them here, fellow, because, well, that's the side that most rounds have been won. 8 rounds to 4 on the defense. Right now, we could easily see Sonic Boom win their attack, Achieve win their attack, and then Sonic Boom win the decider. But this is Siege, and things never, ever go the way that we expect it to go.
And funny enough, we were talking a lot of smack about Vent, but it has a 100% win rate for the defense. So maybe that will be the new site here at CCL to play more often. But for now, it's going to be Bathroom and Tellers first and foremost. I mean, it's been in play a couple of times so far tonight. The big majority so far has been Armory, but it's been very lopsided, favoring the offense. So it only makes sense to want to go this first floor objective room instead. Still having the Goyo, allowing for plenty of, oh dear, you don't love to see that during overtime. That's a big upset. But thankfully, Gingy doesn't at least die. So that's something, I suppose, to maybe look at for the bright side. Could still have those Kaid Claws, still the Nitro Cell. But back onto what I was trying to say, there is tons of stall for options, at least for Achieve Esports. They've got the Goyo Vulcan packs, once again, which they have a huge amount of time pool that they can take away off the clock for Sonic Boom. So that's always something nice to see. But only having that as your main source of stall, I feel like the roam game is going to have to thrive on this round, or else it's going to see a lot of punishment being established here by Sonic Boom.
Well, Sonic Boom on their attacks have been pretty good. I've actually just noticed something, fellow, and I don't know if you mentioned it there in the kind of prep phase, but there's a fuse being brought.
I did not bring it up.
When is the last time you saw a fuse?
Not in a good while, but it's not a bad option. I mean, there's so much vertical you can do. You can fully clear out Bathroom, I think, with those cluster charges, and also having secondary hard breach that does allow no other primary breach to be required. So that does allow for even more room for Sonic Boom. So I'm honestly a huge fan of this pick right now.
I don't know. I don't know if I rate it. We'll find out if I do rate it when we see the win rate of it. Gonna get rid of that Mozzie Pest. A little bit dangerous, but your hero. Fair enough. Got the balls to do it. Go for it. Moving through on towards that 90 position, ready to contest in towards Armory, where there is some roamers. Gingy, though, from below, reaches up and grabs a soul, pull him into the depths. There is a shield with two players set up there. Arctic's trying to clear the corners, make sure that they can walk through and make sure there's no rodents in any sort of corners nearby. Those two players in towards the Armory position will know what's coming, and yes, they're already ready to drop down this hatch in towards Vents. And remember, the site isn't even in Vents, it's actually in the bathroom.
I'm really shocked that we did have the fallback happen rather early, but I guess with the fact that Achieve have technically got that first kill and they're in the 5v4, they can fall back and play more for that site presence. We begin to see these fuse charges be activated in order to burn through some of that util and maybe try to work some sort of trade to allow more room to breathe for Sonic Boom, because they still have the entire bottom floor to clear through. If they forget about customs, that is the plant most likely denied. And if they just only focus their eyes here on Bathroom, or pardon, Tellers, I should say, that is, of course, a complete funnel, we could still see that pressure established inside Event as well, because that's where a majority of the fallback occurred here for Achieve. And they are still holding strong on pretty much every position they can in this first war with the last 50 seconds remaining here.
I think the Goyle has actually been found out. There was pings there in Gingy's position. This is something I hate to see. Players, they're not checking passport. There's always someone in there at least once in a match, and they always catch people off guard. Artix has been picked up on towards the main area. A couple of sprays from Zach from that AK down the corridors and near Customs. I believe Zach doesn't even know, unwillingly moving in towards his death. This could be an easy one. 6-6. Oh, I was going to say 6-6 the scoreline. 0-3 the man count now. We're waiting to see. Yes, here it is. Gingy strikes, but doesn't actually pounce right and doesn't pick up the kill, but the rest do. Plade managing to get one, can't get another. What is happening here? There's just a trade upon trades. Defenders somehow still winning it out, and Gingy from Passport moving into Customs wins that one out.
And although we didn't have Gingy find that immediate second kill in Passport, that still allowed an isolation to let Stews get a freebie. And there was all of your teller pressure completely gone until we had Plade step up with the LMGE. So it was still a really good job by Gingy to sit in a rat angle and kind of play off the fact that the drone game just wasn't really there for Sonic Boom in those last 50 seconds. And again, the team cohesion at the end for Achieve was really, really just brilliant. Everything went according to plan. All they had to do is go for refrags. It's just that simple when you've got the man advantage and you've got so many different angles to lock out any site potential there for Sonic Boom. And that's one of the most important things to have here for Border, is that defensive round win. You now get to move on the attack, and you're most likely going to guarantee it's either going to be Ventilation or Bathroom, because those are really the only two sites that worked out in the slightest for your opponent. So you should have a good idea going into round number 14 what you need to accomplish.
Well, we are heading back towards bathroom. Fellow, you've got your notes here. You're the one that is coming up with all these stats. What win rate has bathroom got for the attackers?
I think it's a little. I think it's a slight. No, it can't be a slight favorite towards them because we've seen it, I think, 3 times in a row. I can count right now. Bathroom. Actually, 5 times, but it's been, I think, slightly favoring the defense now because we've seen 2 very close calls down to 1v1s with the defense just barely coming out on top. I believe it's a 3-2 victory, but I can probably get that confirmed when we end out the matchup, of course.
Yeah, no hassle. Well, 7-6 to scoreline advantage achieved. Esports. I don't really. Well, I mean, I guess you could call it pretty conserved because they managed to win out on their defense and are now moving to the more favored attack. To see if they can actually do work here. I think they will. I think it's going to be one of those ones where it's just the attack. It's just more dominant, and the way everything's went, I can't see Achieve not winning here. I don't know about you, fellow.
Yeah, I'm not fully confident about their performance here on this map, but I was correct about that call, it being a 3-2, with the defenders having that 1 extra win after Achieve's previous play style on the bathroom site. So I'm glad I managed to remember that off the top of my head. Numbers are hard sometimes. And so is clearing out the entire map just to get control of Teller's Room to go for that default plant, which again is some of my concerns here for Achieve Esports as well. But a majority of these rounds, they have been relatively effective in terms of having good time management and already getting that roam game to fall back. They've spotted out Arctics. They're not going to give away their position for free, though, so somebody's got to start poking and prodding at them with something more than just the drone game. So once we see that pressure established inside of Archives and we see multiple people stacking up against this Malusi, we'll eventually see that drop down. But no, he's not able to drop down at the right time. Gingy at a perfect position will connect on the head of that roamer, and that is a nice way to start out on the right foot here in overtime match point.
It really is. Sorry, I just had to appreciate that. It was literal pixels in the crosshair. It was nearly right from the offset. Took a little minor adjustment, and Stu's World is adjusting the man count, taking one more, putting, I think it was Hixer, all into the dirt. Oh, doesn't matter anyway. That's a Malusi gone and a Maestro gone. Those cameras can no longer shoot. They can still move, but again, those Maestro cameras cannot shoot any more of those lasers, which is huge. There's a play safe for on that castle barricade, trying to see if they could catch the sledge. Not going to happen. We are at a 2-man advantage for the attack.
We still have the position held in customs, but besides that, not many good locations left for Sonic Boom to really work with. They are just short on players, to put it simple. And that is just the main reason why they don't have a lot really going for them right now. There's too many angles they need to worry about. And because Zach was not able to win any type of gunfight there, it's still that 5 versus 3. I don't think Chihiro has been spotted out once again. And he was able to go big the last time we saw him in this position. But now it's only Chihiro and Plade left to stand as it's a 1-for-1. And now it is just Chihiro once again trying to do God's work. Essentially, they spot out the sledge but cannot win the gunfight against Gingy. That will be the final kill of the map. And it's an 8-6 victory favoring Achieve as they do quite well leading into overtime. But honestly, I really thought they would wrap it out in regulation, but at least they made it clean towards the end.
They did. I mean, for the first half, I actually did think that we were potentially going to see Sonic Boom win it out just because of how well they were playing on that attack. I did think that it could potentially be like that, but look at, I mean, Gingy and I think it was Stews at the end putting in that work for the fraggers, the entry rolls. I mean, that last kill there just kind of shows you how good Gingy can actually be. All in all, I think that Achieve Esports, I'm not saying they're going to count themselves lucky, but they certainly managed to kind of bring their shape back and get back into this matchup.
I mean, like you mentioned, Border was just is a very attacker-favored map, so it did make sense to see 4-2 splits favoring both teams. It was 2 relatively standard-esque setups when we went to Armory, Bathroom, and then, funny enough, Ventilation, not even trying to see Customs in play tonight. But once we went into overtime, that one defender round that Achieve won pretty substantially, that was just really the make or break for me. And even if we had that last round won out, actually by Sonic Boom, I mean, there still were plenty of good options for both of them heading into that 15th and final round. But all that being said, we've got one more map heading up here, unless we go to Villa. Of course, that'll be Chalet from map number 2. But before we head into that, we'll take a quick little break and be back to see what exactly happens when we go into those French Alps. Don't go anywhere.
I'll be running, possessed by a low, low voodoo. Fired up like a wolf on a full moon. And we're stuck in a la la land. The tides will turn without us. And I'll be killing time like I might be a cartoon. Take it in real life like haiku. I know we got the good vibes when pieces fall right into place. Even if I lost all my money, the zero runs deep, honey. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me home. crowd. Freeze a party, come on, move around. First rush when the school is out, when the booze is up, when the sun is down. Enjoy the ride, got some pillows in the Chevy. It's like a dolly, low hitting heavy. Take your time, let me know when you're ready. Couple months I've been messing with this steady. Open for.
So as you may know, we had our first Northern Arena event this weekend.
It was exciting to come here and be at the tournament. One of the first big tournaments we've ever been to in Canada. Thanks to Northern Arena.
You know, there's a lot more to come. Introducing Northern Arena.
And we're already hopping right into map number 2 of Chalet, Cairo, between Achieve Esports and Sonic Boom, where previously on map number 1 of Border, which funny enough has been in play quite a lot here at CCL, we saw Achieve take that one into overtime 8-6, and Sonic Boom unfortunately just not able to finish the job there, despite the fact they were actually able to bring Achieve Esports into overtime after they were really trying to fight tooth and nail during that second half.
Thing is, though, I mean, Chalet, I think, will be a completely different affair. I think Chalet will favour the more structured side. I feel as if Achieved Esports was so much more structured on their half when we actually look at what was happening. I mean, we'll need to see exactly, because Sonic Boom were also, I guess, good on their kind of attack. I liked Achieve's setups more on the defense. I liked what they were trying to do, but they were a lot more rigid. They really didn't want to adapt as much. So we'll need to see exactly what happens here on Chile.
Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing. The fact that we had better util usage by Sonic Boom on their defense and overall a more willingness to want to hold certain position for a long time, that did give me kind of a a glimmer of hope that they would do better on their defense, but unfortunately not. And Achieve Esports was able to have that better team cohesion when they moved more into that attacking side of things. So maybe we'll see that exact same story actually unfold, but more teams are comfortable with going to Chalet in comparison to Border because of how new Border is in the comp pool currently for a lot of more of these like T4 and T3 teams, even some pro league teams where we have new people coming up from Challenger League that haven't even gotten the experience of playing Border way back in the day when it used to be in the pro scene. So it definitely does lead to a lot of interesting storylines being tailored in that direction. But like I mentioned, Chalet, everybody knows what they're doing at this point, which is why it's become such a staple. And one of the main sites you like to see on Chalet, of course, is Bar and Gaming. Hence why we're probably going here in round number 1.
It is quite funny when I think about it that you make an actually very good point. I think it's been nearly 3 years since we saw Border back in the map pool, which is actually crazy to consider. That is enough for a player to start playing Siege, get into comp, work their way up and get to CL/PL. That is actually crazy. I wonder if there is any players like that. Something that I would like to see. Something that I do like to see though, Bar Gaming as the first site that Ivy position, an absolute pillar of this site. And I mean, usually we can see 2 types of take: direct in towards Library or indirect in through Solarium. A lot of map control kind of is required for Solarium to leverage and do all the util work. But if you go through Library, it can be quite intricate. It can be something that I'm not saying we expect of a PL team, but if you kind of do it, I sometimes expect there to be mistakes for it to work. I always prefer the indirect take. I don't know what you think, fellow.
Say, normally when you want to go for library pressure immediately, that does allow you to actually get rid of someone playing near Chimney, that secondary shield, and then that does leave only one place left for a defender to sit at, and that's normally the top of blue stairs. So it does allow for instant isolation for the attack, but with there being no ranged hard breach, only the thermite, you're forcing yourself to go in through one area, and that has to be, like you mentioned earlier, heading into solar and then working your way in through offices. Not a bad take, but if you kind of start wasting your own time, you begin to stall yourself out and forget about the main aspect of why you're going for this clear, that's where the problems start to reveal themselves. So if we do not have a very fast-paced round here for Achieve, we're probably going to see them really burn out before they even try to manage to get any proper pressure leading in to that bottom or part of middle floor, to go play for the vert, and then, of course, try to get that execute down.
Seems as if we are seeing Achieve just spread out throughout the map. They've gained the control they needed, droned it all out, had an entry, and I mean, that's fair enough. We are seeing that player put pressure in towards Library that we were talking about previously. I'm not saying it's a bit of a mixed take, because this is usually what happens on this type of take. I was about to say, I'm a bit worried that Hixer is downstairs. I wonder where their pathing is going to lead to, but no, they're going to go elsewhere. I believe they are actually in basement holding down the fort. I wonder if they're going to find their way back on towards those blue stairs to hold down for later. I think what we're seeing right now is a setup to clear that Ivy stairs. Arctic's actually doing some denial through the Toxic Babes. Maybe wanted to keep them in pocket, but we're already 2 minutes through the round.
Yeah, and there hasn't been much accomplished here for Achieve Esports. They don't have a lot of players stacked up to actually burn through those ADSs in a timely manner, and I think they've been able to reset multiple times. Eventually, though, it will not be quick enough to get that reset down, but still, 50 seconds remain, and the smoke is still remaining quite dominant here in these in the top area of blue stairs, pardon, and Chihiro's not that far behind either. He gets the opening duel as him and both Arctic swing at the exact same time, bringing us down into a 5-on-3.
We are down to a 4 versus 3, just as you handed off there. There was some kills happening. Plate has got Gingy, so there's another one gone, and well, it all seems to be falling apart for Achieved. It's like my dinner, pulled pork is what is being made of this team right now. And it seems if they're getting ready to potentially drop through the hatches. Hicks are nearly giving up their life, unfortunately being able to somehow escape. Right now, 4 versus 2. There's not been much given away. As I say that though, there is one body given away, and that is Senpai. There's only 7 seconds remaining. This is looking all but over. First round towards Sonic Boom, and it's starting off starting off Chalet as we start Border. Kind of similar. I just messed up my words.
Yeah, both fairly attacker favored, depending on who you ask, so fair enough. Very different temperatures, of course, very different climates, but oh well. Sadly, no helicopter as well on Chalet to go scream at you to not, or no microphone to go tell you not to approach a helicopter. But
yeah.
Oh well, we'll pay attention to details for the VOD review. I could imagine that, but
yeah.
I think for Achieve Esports there, they kind of did what I was hoping they would not do, and they forgot about the bigger picture. You get that office control so you can clear out the player in the top of blue, and they took too long setting that up. They didn't have enough utility. We had the thermite wasting their smokes early on for some sort of burn because their flash player was nowhere in sight. They had their mez person not do a lot to get rid of that presence in Chimney, and in fact, Chihiro actually got aggressive and helped actually Arctics get aggressive as well to go for a double swing, and that found 2 instant kills for Sonic Boom. Probably the worst thing that could happen for Achieve Esports. You waste all of your util and you finally get the blue shield taken care of, and then you just die. That is literally the exact opposite of what you have happening. And again, if we continue to see this pattern occur for Achieve Esports, then they are probably bound to see a very defender-sided half looking right at them.
It could happen. I mean, Sonic Boom, they had a great start to Border. I was kind of trying to point that out. And potentially this could be a great start to Chalet. I wonder if that is what's going to happen. I'm not too sure. Most of the charges, obviously, just to be placed is sometimes when we're defending Kitchen, it's almost like defending upstairs, or a kind of light version of it, a diet version almost, if you want to call it that, of an upstairs defense, which later falls back downstairs. Right now, they're obviously doing the... Well, I'm not saying doing the work. They're not really doing much work. They're just sitting pretty for the time being. And on the other side, Achieve Esports, they're going in through Library, opening things up all through the softball. Badger's still out in spawn. Imagine he must be droning places for people as he does. He has the hard breach, the thermite. And it seems if we are actually going to get double hard breach for this site.
I could definitely speed up the process of getting both this top and middle floor control. You normally want to get that office wall opened up so you can then deny the vertical play from happening via Sonic Boom, and also begin to clear out the roam game entirely, force him to fall back, maybe even cutoff established near west main window. But that is just speaking theoretics. We still have to worry, of course, about actually getting this back wall opened on up to then get rid of that roam presence. Badger will finally be the one to do that, getting that exothermic charge deployed and slowly detonating that up, and then we can see that rotate happen around by Achieve Esports. Arctics goes for a run out and doesn't finish the job, but still really catches Achieve Esports in a tough spot. Thankfully, though, still that 5-on-5 with Achieve Esports finally ready to start working a floor lower and getting this back wall opened up, leading into dining.
Right now, it seems as if we are almost... I'm not going to say a delay. It seems as if Achieve Esports have hit that spot where they need to kind of take their time, get this breach open. All players on the side of Sonic Boom taking their time. Hixer, I think, was maybe looking downstairs for a potential run out on towards Big Window, if that's where the roam clear came through from. Chihiro went for another run out, though. That's from upstairs. That's from the piano window, I believe, and has picked up Gingy, the sledge. Great pick up there. The breach has been open now, and Zach is very, very close and could potentially swing out, pinging out to give that information to his comrades, sitting idly by. Wonder if there will be anybody to support. Imagine the crossfire set up, but it seems as if there has been a misdrawn fellow.
Oh, but Zach is not able to fall back, and the audio call most definitely is there for Achieve Esports. Thankfully, he has some sort of help to break open the hatch, but it's far too late. Badger is able there to get something for their troubles. Chihiro, though, still in the top floor, causing a ton of havoc. Yams will at least find something, but it is only up to the Zofia here. Spots at another one. If there's any gun to win out this 1v2, it's got to be that LMGE as the Echo tries to get aggressive. The Zofia so low at HP, a crossfire will be their impending doom. Sonic Boom, able to take now a second in a row as we kind of are seeing those same problems kind of formulate here for Achieve, but I think more or less just not having enough manpower on that top floor to fully remove Chihiro. I think that was more or less the bigger problem and not the self-stalling.
Right, we are now moving on to this third round, and it seems as if Achieve Esports cannot get themselves into this game whatsoever. Sonic Boom potentially on for a perfect rotation of sites. Master Bedroom kind of revered. I don't know about if it's the same in NA, if we've had a shift in meta somehow over here, but in EU it's revered as probably the strongest site. I prefer bar gaming myself, but we always see a return to Master Bedroom and Office at least once. It's been kind of, through its iterations, became a lot more aggressive. We're seeing panels opened up to contest into Solarium, sometimes even to contest on towards Fluke Balcony from that main breach on box. We'll need to see if that's what's going to continue in this round, but it seems as if that probably will be the case for the Solarium anyway.
Say the one problem with Master Bedroom has got to be that window presence. If you have a good window player, it's very apparent on a site like Master Bedroom, because you can just cut off half of the objective room, and that does allow for a very straightforward attack. Get the office wall opened up, you have somebody play on that main balcony like you mentioned, Cairo, and then you can try to go for that default plant almost instantly. You can also see a solar take instead, which again has a big emphasis to deal with in terms of that window pressure. You can still have somebody sit near the master window and then someone hopping from solar later on. So there are a lot of good options here for the attack, and this is probably one of the easier sites to actually approach. So if Achieve Esports don't win this round, I am definitely going to have a lot of head scratchers for them moving into the rest of this first half.
We are seeing the first pick going on towards Arctics. That's a good pick up there. The Mozzie gone. That's potentially one of those roamers, those pesky roamers that could be, I guess, doing some damage. Already, though, there is all pings going upstairs, trying to dislodge any player that's obviously... Oh, I thought that was the pick on towards Chihiro on that Solarium stairs. Can't quite find it through those flowpoles. Gingy struggling. But the thing is, though, the pick elsewhere on towards Zach the Cade is huge. A very long angle. We've seen this before, but not getting the pick up. Chihiro somehow escaping with their life, and so does Hixer. 5 versus 3. We're only a minute in.
I mean, I really cannot believe that Stu's World is just holding that tremendously long angle and just waiting for somebody to peek him with the actual DMR, the 417, I believe it to be. But we finally have this push coming through by Solar. Plate is able to find one. Not going to be enough though to get a second one. There is some sort of double swing though in effect by Chihiro. 2 people now downed actually on both sides of the battlefield. And of course, no adrenaline surge. Yams cannot be revived up until Gingy steps into action. A grenade being tossed out potentially just to keep the rest of this defense at bay and almost finish off Plate, but they're able to fall back and potentially get revived later on to maybe put us in that 4 versus 3.
Oh no, Gingy doing work for the defense. Played though, might be timing out, tapping out, and towards that camera position. The camera position being in the afterlife. Gingy stuck on those Solarium stairs is so unfortunate. Stews can't even get an angle in towards Closet, and neither can the player on the rappel. Finally has been work done in terms of hard breach. That was the Habana that just swung in there, and now it's all up to the Vector of Hixer. Does have a C4 in hand. That could be big work using a long angle here, but no one's getting ready to swing. Finally does. Badger low, very, very low, and the plant being attempted now.
We got Hixer throwing out that nitro cell you talked about, fully blinded though, and the nitro cell not connecting at all, if not being shot out perhaps. So that almost guarantees this post-plant position with somebody out on the double window and everyone just holding these long angles. Yeah, there's no chance for Hixer to salvage that round, and we now get to see a relatively good round overall by Achieve. They open things up with 2 beautiful kills, and they just continued that pressure all the way into the top of Solar, and despite the fact they may have had a bit of friendly fire, they still were able to get that plant down and force Hixer in a basically impossible position to come back from.
And it came from that first initial pickup. It came from that first initial frag. Entry kills are so important in Siege. We emphasize it every single time because I think it's something like 65% your chances of winning a round goes up to the entry kill already getting picked up. I think we will be coming back to our beautiful faces here, fellow, as we are going to have to wait for one of the players to come back into the lobby. But yes, I mean, I think it's 65-70%. I don't know if you know the statistic off the top of your head.
Do you not think so? What is it for opening kills? The likelihood of winning the round outright?
Yeah.
No, I remember about a year ago was around like 70, but that stat might have changed. It's around the same ballpark though.
Yeah.
It just comes down to you get a lot, you kind of have to force a lot of respect to happen your way if you're the team that kind of gets put in that 4v5, because again, that's one less gun down depending on who died. That's a lot of util off the board, like your Echo, perhaps that's plant denial. You lose your Thermite, that's opening up a gigantic wall to get into the site without funneling. There's a lot that goes into winning that first gunfight, so it's a really big part to play for a lot of momentum in terms of the round itself. So it's always nice to start out on the right foot. But at least in terms for Achieve, we have seen them on a lot of times where if they even lose that first gunfight, they are able to play for the trade game. That was very apparent on Border. So far, it hasn't really happened on Chalet because they get double swinged, but maybe that could change moving forward in the rest of this matchup here for map 2.
And now we have seen Master Bedroom. The next site will be Barring Gaming for the side of Sonic Boom. And Do you think, I imagine I already know the answer, do you think it will be a return for Barring Gaming? Do you think Master Bedroom might be re-attempted as a potential throw-off? I don't imagine that would be the case because Attacker repick, but just thought I'd ask the question.
No, it'll probably be Barring Gaming. But one thing I know for sure is that we are going to have to go into a quick little rehost. So we'll be back in a couple minutes to get the rest of Chalet back and underway in a little while.
But you long gone, it don't matter. Ride or die, that's been the deal. The light of your body got disappear. But if you don't play that for me, I'm out of it, I'm out of it. I lick my gun and then I'm done. I'm out of it, I'm out of it. No man to tell me you're no good. I'm brushing away, do you? The weight of you, of my shoulder. Done with my cigarette, and when all the smoke is clear, I'm brushing away to you, the weight to you, the weight to you. Don't need a no man. Tell me you're no good. I'm brushing away, do you? The weight of you, of my shoulder. Done with my cigarette, and when all the smoke is clear, I'm brushing away to you, the weight to you, the weight of you. Don't need a no man.
Well, told you we'd not be in for that long, at least in terms of a wait. We are already back hopping into Chalet for the 4th round here in the first half after Achieve have finally gotten a round in the books. They now are probably having to look back at Bar and Gaming. And yeah, before we handed it off into a rehost, we were correct on that call, Kyra, that we're probably going to see Bar and Gaming and not a reattempt of Master for a little while long.
Yeah, it's totally right. And then on top of that, if I'm looking at Achieve Esports, I'm wondering how are they going to be changing up their attack. I mean, all in all, I think they had the right idea. I just don't think the execution was too correct. I don't know if you agree with me there. I just think that like they kind of took the majority of map control. They started to try and leverage it, but when the leverage came, they just took far too long. Didn't have the right utility. It kind of just took a bit too long. And I mean, then we saw Sonic Boom kind of, I guess, disrespected opponents and moving up and getting aggressive. And I mean, the disrespect worked out. They ended up getting those picks.
Yeah, I think you mentioned one huge point for a brief moment there. The utility emphasis there, it was not a factor for Achieve Esports. They had a Thermite, which only has 2 smoke grenades, and that was not enough to deal with the ADSs. It took way too long to remove that smoke of his position. And even when Artix lost his shield, he just got aggressive with Chihiro because there wasn't enough util to also deal with the extension leading in the top of mezzanine. If we have a Habana on the board, for the example, or in general just more flash grenades, this clear could happen 10 times faster. Yet so far, we aren't having that happen. There was a potential chance of seeing a Capitao, which would have been an interesting dynamic because of the Wamai ban, but instead we're going on that more default selection of the Habana. Badger will still be rocking that hard support role, but now there's going to be more utility to help remove that pressure in the top of blue and hopefully mezzanine much faster in comparison to round number 1.
Round number 1. You know what? I'm gonna just put it at the back of my mind and not think about round number 1. I'm gonna say this is a new round here for Achieve Esports. They've got all the capabilities in the world to go and do what they want. This is their first time attacking because it was a bit pitiful. Let's be honest.
Well, it wasn't the best. And also having the Thermite, which I think is probably like the worst hard breacher to have when you're attacking Bar and Gaming. You just don't need that big of an opening. Habana is much more versatile, especially if you want to late rotate in a library. You're still having trouble clearing out mezzanine. Maybe you need someone not playing just on the west main balcony, but also someone stacked up in your library on the double window. You can open up that hard wall, and then your player who's sitting behind that shield normally has to fall back, drop into fireplace, and if you get somebody to play in that fireplace double door, they most likely have the cutoff angle to guarantee a kill, which also helps with that map control. It makes it much more valuable because you have that man advantage and a lot of pressure to work for that vertical play to maybe even make it 5 versus 3. But speaking of that man advantage, Senpai catches Chihiro trying to get over aggressive, and he'll be punished for that.
The worst thing about that one fellow was the fact that Chihiro was trying to escape there and it just didn't work out. Look, the flashes are coming through for the burn. Is the timing correct? Do I think?
Yep.
Oh no, it's actually, yeah. I thought somehow that I heard that little bit of the ADS noise in your ear, and the kind of Gone 6 got picked up, but it wasn't to be. Finally, we see Ivy a little bit more vulnerable. Artix, though, can still fight back, remember.
And we had just Senpai and Stu's World actually clear out the one shield in blue, and just like that, both of the CBN and our operators are actually going to go get both the shields off the board, and that is not a bad start. We do have Artix able to get the refrag, but there's one of the many cutoff angles you can hold for someone who's trying to drop down from mezzanine. That gives the man advantage back in the way of Achieve Esports, and now they're looking in a much better position to actually get that vertical established and really make life a living hell for Sonic Boom in this final minute.
There is plenty of information. We saw a couple of pings coming out there for the defense, but there's no C4s, etc. To actually capitalize on that information, going to have to sit and wait for the right moment to pop up and collect from that. There was some vertical holes there. Gingy, lucky that no one's watching that. And with 45 seconds remaining, it's going to have to be quick utility work here, i.e. with that sledgehammer, maybe some breach charges to go down. It seems if Achieve Esports need to try and focus up here. When do they go for the execute, and is it going to be soon?
It's only a matter of time. They've got to pick up the pace at some point. Oh, Yams is just waiting with such great patience, but he loses that fight. A huge win to have for Platus. He's still just in the middle of bar top. Gets caught, though, by Badger, allowing the plant to now go down, but there isn't much coverage at the moment, and I think the defense has spotted this out. There is a toxic cancer by Arctics, but he does not deploy it in the right position. Now in the post plant, Badger loses their gunfight, but still it's a 1 versus 2 with Arctics in that bad position, and they have to still worry about the vertical coverage as well, so a lot needs to be done in these 30 seconds. And again, a whole 7 on the mark to still get that defuse down successfully. So Arctics really has to put an extra pep in their step to make sure they stop this vertical pressure from being established, but it's not going to work out. We've got Stu's World holding a weird position that Arctics was just not prepared for. Yeah, look at that. The double bullet hole leading in through that glass top. Yeah, you could only imagine the smoke was not expecting that. And that's going to give Achieve Esports a very redeeming round in that 4th one.
Unfortunately, it seems, fellow, that disconnect has really fell into Achieve Esports. They've focused up, they've done the work that they need to do, they've adapted, and the adaptations are good. Two a piece here on Chalet, and where we could potentially see another one going in favour of Achieve Esports as they head in towards Bar and Gaming. We've already seen them win. I wonder what Sonic Boom will do differently, as we've already seen the adaptation come through from Achieve. All the operators look similar from what I can see, and with that being said, again, is it maybe just they need to play it differently this time round? Maybe not lose that initial frag of Chihiro on towards that kind of box breach that we usually see on The Office?
That is a start. Maybe also having more pressure in library itself. There are a lot of long angles you can hold to stop anybody hopping in through the main double window. You could maybe kill somebody entering in through the back of office as well, funny enough. And for Achieve Esports, that was probably the one part of the map they didn't have a lot of presence on until they already cleared out that top floor, was library. We didn't have that many people actually rotate near that double window to enter in from library to actually kill anybody if they were playing close near the hatch. So if we see more of a contention point there for Sonic Boom after we already see that util clear go down successfully for Achieve Esports, they definitely could get away with a lot more shenanigans than what they probably would anticipate.
We are seeing already the pressure mounting towards that north side of the map right now. The players obviously breaking the windows open, they're just doing the normal stuff they need to do. Bullets flying left, right and centre. Zach actually maybe feeling that pressure a little bit as they try to escape in towards that library, supported by the players in Mez. It's the same positions as last time. It's basically exactly what we expected here, fellow, with the way everything's going. And it seems if Achieve Esports, because of that, know exactly what they need to do, exactly what they need to clear out. We are reaching 50 seconds and they're already doing the work that they did last round. They already know what they need to do. Difference is they don't have that pick. I think they'll know exactly where the player will be playing, though. I imagine they'll have ideas. Everybody's played Siege, everybody knows the natural positions. The work is going to come through utility. Flash is already flying, and we need to see this top of Ivy space need to go first. Finally, it gets gone, and then we'll need to focus on Mez.
Arctics can still just play in the middle of blue, though. Just because that shield is gone does not mean the smoke will leave as reluctantly. Still able to play off of Chihiro as well. Zach is actually the first one to drop, despite the fact no one's moved around into library just yet. There has been a drone to spot him out, but again, no one to play off of that reconnaissance just yet. Maybe a bit of a mistake, because now Chihiro has a lot more pressure stacked up to him, and really no one but maybe Arctics to play around with him, but I think he's made the call to fall back as well. So really, it's just this Jaeger player up here just to die at this point.
Playing the life indeed. There we go. First frag picked up. But the trade from Arctics on towards... I thought I was actually up in library stairs, but no, it's down in kitchen. Arctics repositioned themselves perfectly. Zach taking up Arctics' old position of those blue/Ivy stairs. Going to have to drop lower because they know that the pressure is coming soon. And I know that they don't want to get picked up. 45 seconds remain though, and there's still so much work to do in terms of gaining information on players' positioning. And well, there's the first bit of information. Pledge gone. They're back to the observing screen. 3 remain though. A run out comes from Zach, but nothing to be collected. 30 seconds and we're in that execution phase now. We need to see Achieve gain this plant, get this plant down.
No one's sitting in the back of stock. That now being a fact of matter here for Achieve as they begin to work their way into the actual site itself. We've got Zach still trying to attempt a potential run out, which could maybe catch somebody off guard. And in fact, it does. Zach able to spring into action. No one's here to cover Badger. He still gets the plant down, but Zach goes out the pistol. 1 versus 2. Senpai up above. He's definitely in a good spot to win this one out, but we could just see a simple tag team here by Sonic Boom, and that could be enough to make sure they get this 3rd round as a victory, or 5th round to make it their 3rd overall. As they're going in for the crossfire here, they're trying to look for the finger, but they have natural coverage currently. They sit in the back of shelves, but Zach is going to win that altercation, giving Sonic Boom plenty of time left to defuse, and that run out play by Zach in a Hail Mary attempt to stop the plant from going down. It may have not done that, but it got plenty of kills to allow Sonic Boom to get the man advantage back and just work their way back up above to kill the player set up for Vert.
Well, that was a very well played, a good decision made, but I don't know if it's by the IGL or the 2 players there, but it was certainly a good decision nonetheless. As you said, tag teaming up, working all the way up those stairs, and then catching that player off guard, as I think they were trying to watch downstairs. That's where the gun was initially placed, or the crosshair was anyway. Kitchen Dining going to be the next one, and I think if I remember correctly, Sonic Boom did a pretty good defense here, and especially that upstairs positioning that they kind of sat down. I don't know if Achieve Esports, they did get the wall open, that's right, and then it ended up in a flurry of kills and stuff that they couldn't answer back. This time though, I think they'll be well aware of what's to come. I was going to say maybe... sorry, I'm thinking of the wrong best of 3 that I've casted tonight. Never mind, I'll hand it over to you, fellow.
All right then, maybe bring it back up later perhaps. First time seeing Kitchen and Dining here on Chalet for this matchup at the very least. Good thing about this site is you can extend quite religiously all the way on that top floor, and then, oh no, this is actually the second time. I wrote Dining the first time we saw this site, and now I'm writing Kitchen. I have that bad habit, so this is the second time we're actually seeing it play. That's my bad, but we'll see the exact same extension that we did last time around when this site was in play. And for Achieve Esports, I remember now correctly, they didn't have a lot of pressure on this top floor. They got the office wall opened up and then had everybody but one person actually fall back, and they were able to be isolated by Chihiro, giving that opening duel as a win for Sonic Boom, and then everything just kind of went south from that point on. They still had to deal with the roam game, of course, they never fully took care of, and then the site presence, it was never flushed out either, even though both walls were opened up properly by Achieve Esports. They just never had enough util nor the proper positioning really to actually shut down that proper defense done by Sonic Boom.
Right, well, the control has been gained over from Library side. Yams moving through that, gaining, I guess, just kind of pre-firing through, trying to check those corners, face checking them. Maybe not the best idea, but I imagine there was some sort of drone work in front of them, trying to make sure that nobody can move forward. Getting that drone on top of Ivy stairs just to make sure that no one's getting aggressive through Library stairs. Nobody can kind of catch players off guard. A nice little pick up there from Hixa on that drone just above the, I guess, the metal kind of rack. But do they know where Gingy is? Ready to pounce on blue. There's information there for the defender of Hixa. Will they be able to swing one out against the sledge? Again, it's like 2 ships in the night. Can't seem to find each other, but there's plenty of work being done upstairs in terms of blowing things up, making holes, making damage, and the pressure, I imagine, will be felt by Artix and Chihiro.
I mean, really, for Hixer, this is the make or break for all of Sonic Boom to get this 4-2 split potentially, because, again, no one is aware that Malusi's playing there, actually, in the basement floor. And also, need to kind of worry about that top floor. We could again see a bit of tunnel vision happening by Achieve Esports as they just try to hard focus in on trying to get rid of this Echo's position, and also Zach as well. But a well-timed nade will detonate directly onto Hixer, and there goes the first kill favoring Achieve Esports as a quick clap back by Zach, eventually falling though next to the hard walls. It's been opened up. Chihiro finds one of the stews as well, but still, we're on even footing for this eventual push.
We are seeing a good little bit of retake of map control here coming through. I think that's from Chihiro on towards the box stairs play, just holding a really tight corner, and will be able. So I was played on towards Gingy, will get picked up though, the refrag coming through. Chihiro now pushing down on towards Fireplace as the plant tries to be attempted here. There is pings, and Chihiro's trying to rush. There's only one gun available, and that gun will hit its mark. That is another round towards Team Achieved. And with that being said here, that is now an even half for both sides. And I mean, honestly, I don't even know if this is going to be an even chalet or if it's going to be a bias to one side.
I'm not too sure either because we did see redemption arcs for both teams. Really, we had Achieve Esports figure out how to actually attack on a bar in gaming, having the proper util set up. Then we had other moments where they couldn't stop a run out from Mudroom as well. And the first time bar was in play, they didn't even get the shield destroyed until there was like 50 seconds left in the round. So we've seen ups and downs for Achieve. And also Sonic Boom as well, going for fallbacks too early on, not really having the proper team cohesion that you would expect in those final 50 seconds. So, again, there have been moments of greatness and then also moments of complete and utter failure. Hence, explaining probably why we had such a 50-50 sided first half because, both Achieve and Sonic Boom just had good rounds and sometimes poor ones as well. But heading into bar for the first round here in the new half, that seems to be a constant as of now, just like death and taxes.
Death and taxes, yeah, you're totally right. I guess I wonder how Sonic Boom will go about their attack if we think back to Border. They were pretty proficient. I mean, so far we've already seen 3 attacking rounds, so in my head I'm thinking there is a good possibility that Sonic Boom could do the work, but maybe they were just proficient at Border. It's like one of those things that I hate about moving on to a new half, because you're trying to speculate on absolutely, well, I'm not saying zero information. We've had previous iterations of attack, etc., when we do our homework, but all in all, I mean, when it comes into each and every game, it is so unique in terms of how players perform, etc., that you really it's all speculation. Hopefully this time, though, Sonic Boom can do the work, and what we're seeing so far from the setup on the defense is stuff that I like. But again, it's one of those ones, can they convert it?
Well, interesting thing here, Shinji has the Melusi. I'm not too sure how effective that can be, at least in the early bits of the round, but towards the end, have a couple of Banshees popped up. That is just going to slow down the overall push of Sonic Boom and give away a lot of precious information. Still having plenty of util for this top floor, multiple shields, a couple ADSs, even the Surya gates on top of that too. Just a nice icing for the cake, I suppose, can help prolong this push leading in from offices, similar to what we saw by Achieve Esports when they were on their attacks. I mean, we haven't seen any deviation of people trying to get rid of that library presence first and foremost, and then moving through mezzanine. It's just been the standard setup of trying to get the blue shield gone and then working their way from the west main balcony to kill the person backing up that blue stairs player.
Utility work soon to come. Oh no, Stu's is actually getting aggressive here. They've heard some sound call, but actually just pops their Runegate. No, here goes. There's run out, gets the first pick and gets traded out. That's only a Rooney gone. A Gingy from behind somehow gets a pick up there, and there goes Chihiro. There goes Zach. That's a hard breaching a set of nades. Pretty big if you ask me, and could be massive work because all in all they've not lost much in terms of secondary utility. Gingy's dropped out for the time being, but that's not to worry, they were already taken out. 3 versus 3, 3 smoke babes still alive, and there's a minute 10 left.
And actually having Senpai now switch roles of where Stu's actually playing before they went for a run out, and having Yams still the top of mezzanine, this does lead to a lot of problems. These ADSs have been reset by now. Both shields are still surviving, if not thriving at this point. So this is going to lead to a very problematic push in these final 50 seconds. Yams now changing positions as well. And if a drone is not tossed out to give away that vital information, that could be a huge play for the Jaeger.
We are waiting to see who makes the first play. 40 seconds remain. Nade goes out and the Frost runs up, gets picked up. Arctic's finally getting ahead of the opponent. Advantageous position now for these attackers, but 30 seconds remain. Could mean that they start funneling, means that they could potentially make a mistake as things start to get rash. They're checking the corners of library. 20 seconds now, the clock is ticking. They just can't miss out on the smoke. Toxic babes start to rain out through. More time denied. 10 seconds now. One smoke babe is all it takes to deny one plant, but it's not even going to get onto the site as all the bodies start to hit the floor. It's all up to Hexer, 1 versus 1, but it's Yams to win that one out. Achieve Esport, they win their first defensive round, and they win it in a very, very big flurry and chaotic finish.
The same problem we had, funny enough, the first time Bar was actually being attacked for Achieve, actually guaranteed them their first round on their defense. We had a full stall trying to deal with that presence in the top of blue and mezzanine, and I liked the eventual fallback there by Yams. I know he was probably waiting to pull that trigger and kill somebody who was not expecting him, but we actually had Atrix fully aware that there was bound to be someone playing on the top floor and not fully willing to give away that position for free. Although that kind of happened. Yams realized, well, there's only 30 seconds left. I should back up my smoke player so we can kind of play together, buddy, buddy, and make sure both the fireplace position and the hatch drop are completely guarded. And that way I know for a fact I'm not going to die unless I'm holding the site down. That was a much better call, especially since there wasn't a lot of time left. So there was bound to be some sort of mistake by Sonic Boom and maybe not enough time to gather information to know exactly where the Achieve defenders were playing at in those final moments of the round.
Right, well, basement is going to be the site, and my EU brain is shouting at me right now, saying that this basement site is not what I want to see, saying that it's not the best site on the map, and I mean, especially with attacker repick, it's not really going to catch these attackers off guard. I don't know if I like it. Fellow, I always find that it's NA teams that always go to basement more regularly. I mean, you could probably confirm that. Do you like this site? Would you argue that it is viable?
I would say it is viable depending on what team plays it. It matters as to how effective your roam game is because it's kind of like Double Kitchen on Cafe. You've got the whole map to play with. You need to use that and kind of as your lifeline, and it's just meant to waste time. We have been seeing more teams, though, instead of going for that top-down clear, like you normally would expect, they've actually been trying to get the snowmobile wall opened up almost immediately, and then they kind of try to, fluster their way into either the top of fireplace or they full rotate into trench. And more or less, this wall being opened up is more or less just a sight line to make sure they've got cutoff angles. Sometimes you'll see a full 5-man rush, and I think that was the ideology there by Sonic Boom. It was fun if attempted by the Sonics as well a few hours ago during this second play day of NAL, but it's not going to work out for either Sonic Booms or Sonics themselves as well, funny enough.
Well, with that being said, though, it seems as if they have identified a Cade that was trying to be sneaky, trying to play a little bit Cade trick, isn't going to work out, and is going to deny that breach, obviously, as you've already alluded to. Going to have to try and jump through and displace that. Probably could be shot out from the main door, but I don't think anybody wants to go there. I think the players that were moving by that main door were probably going to put their focus on towards Wine. Maybe I'm just mistaken. More time wasted for Sonic Boom. Yes, there's Hixer now in towards that wine cellar position. Just watching the door, making sure no one can rotate up. But Vigil's up there. Right now, it just seems as if things are just being delayed. Long angle being held by Yams, which is good because it's denying the destruction of the Cade. Stews obviously has the information on Chihiro, picks up that kill. There is a C4 about to go out on main breach. Will it hit? I don't think so, as all four players rotate away and waste more time. They only have a minute left here.
Once again, a very hard stall by Sonic. Boom, at least they're able to find one kill, but Gingy not really been that impactful in terms of what they bring to the table. They've already done their job on the destruction role, or the anti-destruction role, I should say. And now we've got the rest of the onslaught happening from the side of Trench, leading into Wine Room. Senpai catches one off guard. The toxic canister will suffocate out Zack, and we have a complete denial of an entry point for Sonic Boom. Now with only 30 seconds left on the board, they can't even utilize their adrenaline surges because the smoke canisters will just diminish their HP. So there really are no options left. Hixer tries to rotate and trophy, but he'll get shut down by Yams, and as Artix gets down, there's no one here to help him out, and yep, it'll just be a quick finisher out by Badger, adding insult to injury there with the Toxic Babe, and it's going to be another round in the books for Achieve Esports.
Another one perfect on the defensive half so far, but it's a similar story to what we've seen on that first half where Sonic Boom got the first two rounds, and then when we went to that tertiary, I think that's when Achieve started to come in towards the game. We started to see them come to life. But well, there is any life for Sonic Boom in this half is a completely different story. There was a flash of an IQ there, and I'm wondering why here, fellow. I wonder why they were thinking of that IQ, because we are heading to kitchen and dining, and yes, sometimes we do see a pulse, but again, I'm going to say this, is IQ's not really meta, and we don't tend to see her that often. It's very situational, and I don't know, I just always feel a bit hesitant when I see her.
Especially for, like you mentioned, a site that doesn't really require an IQ. But with attacker repick, I mean, Sonic Boom, they have to realize, oh, they're going dining room. They don't have anything good for an IQ. We'll just change off that, which they didn't really even need. They've already gotten off that one operator and are actually changing their lineup to have A, more grenade presence, and B, having at least a major self-destructor of that sledge. So if they get that top 4 control, they can actually play for Vert and weaken the site presence but more teams have actually opted to not fully clear out this top floor. It tends to be too taxing for a lot of teams. Instead, they'll just open up the office wall, have somebody to just hold passively near mezzanine, for example, or near like the piano door, and just make sure nobody can actually try to stop a plant from this top floor of offices. And maybe if someone tries to get over aggressive, tries to swing out wide, they could get taken care of. And that's basically a free kill for the attack as they're still focusing on actually getting a plant down.
Well, Gingy has decided to go downstairs, obviously, to put that Cade Claw down. Has his position spot on, and we'll imagine that will be all three walls that's usually in that position. Nice and electrified. The two most important ones are anyway. That's all we care about. Sonic Boom, again, coming from the south side here. I'm going to move all the way over to the north side. It's stuff that we've seen before and stuff that I'm just emphasising so that everybody knows what's going on. And we already know where this setup is. There's going to be no need for any sort of thermite to get into Office's sledge. The big Scottish man starts to do his work. Nobody wants to actually put any aggression on towards that. But as I see that, Stews picks up played from somewhere else, and I'm not too sure where that was. Is that a long angle all the way through Office Breach?
Might have been the case. And it looks like Sonic Boom, they had no idea either, apparently, in the same position as you were, Cairo. And again, not a good place for Achieve to be in right now. They don't need to really push out all that much more. They cannot waste another potential life here on this top floor because they really haven't achieved all that much. Chihiro, though, someone who's been rather confident in their gun skills, at least able to shut down the castle on this top floor. Still plenty of a presence, though, as the Yams will now take that position of the dead castle. So not over just yet here for Sonic Boom, but at least they found some sort of trade and even deal a whopping amount of damage onto Yams as well, forcing him to fall back a little bit further, play behind that shield and closet. But still, plenty left in terms of the checklist here for Sonic Boom because they haven't even got rid of the Cade Claw just yet, and now they're having Hixer potentially try to rotate. Yeah, I think he changed his mind on that real quick.
Yeah, I don't really like when players try to go below. Is that Cade Claw going to get away in time? Yes, it is. Just literally in time. Lucky there. Need to go through to try and get that. Cade Claw does so eventually. But is there a second one to follow? No, there's not. A C4 is. Doesn't quite hit the mark. And unfortunately, that is the breach open for the defenders. Yams, though, hits out at Artix. There goes your thinker. And now we're in a 4 versus 3 with Toxic Babes in pocket.
And this is still in a good position whatsoever here for Sonic Boom. I think they lost their player up above who was watching patiently for Yams. If it were the Aruni in that position, we could see maybe the plant being denied. Chihiro is still playing up above, though, and most likely have to relocate because there isn't much left for him to do in that top 4 position except for maybe denying the plant. There goes, or the flank, my mistake. Hixer catches one with a well-tossed grenade, but still 20 seconds left to kill. Toxic canisters still being tossed out, and Gingy gets aggressive at just the right time, dancing around this dining room table, and now drops down through the hatch. Chihiro there waiting, though, shanks him in the back, but there we have it. Senpai still waiting with great patience as well. Only 7 seconds left. I feel like we're bound to see match point guaranteed here for Achieve Esports, as there's nothing left that Hixer can really do here. Yams gets the final kill of the round, and yeah, it's going to be 6-3 now with Achieve still in a phenomenal lead.
They really do. 3 attempts at that, well, map and series point. 3 attempts that, well, any team would happily take. I think this could really be over in this next round. But with that being said, Achieved Esports, we need to give commendations. That's 3 rounds in a row that they have won on the defense. I don't know how much is carried over in that streak from the first half. I think it's just 1, so maybe it's 4 in a row. They really are hitting their stride. Bar Gaming, again, one of the sites that's revered as probably the most successful, the most, I guess, strongholdy site that can really be locked down, and it's an intricate kind of setup of crossfires and utility is set up. And last time Sonic Boom really did struggle as there was aggression brought to them by Achieve. We saw the jump outs, we saw other forms of aggression, and it did come down to a flurry at the end, which was won out by those defenders. Hopefully this time that is not the case.
Especially since, again, we have been seeing both Achieve Esports and Sonic Boom kind of ignore anybody rotating library window. That's such a crucial part of the map because you can see that fallback happen, and that's one of the safest ways to move back in the first floor is through that hatch. If you get your Mez player just to rotate from the top of Mez just inside a library, no one's there to pressure him on the window, that's getting away with your life scot-free, and maybe, just maybe, getting a kill before vacating the premises as well. So for Sonic Boom, they need to be much more efficient on that clear, heading to the top of blue and mezzanine, but also quicker on their rotations because, again, they cannot just think about this in more of a horizontal kind of way. They need to think of the bigger picture to guarantee they just do not get sent home with empty hands here tonight.
Well, I imagine there will be this kind of north and south take. It's kind of the standard stuff we're seeing right now. I know I keep making a comment on where they're coming from because I think it's a stylistic approach to choose which side you're coming from, to kind of emphasise that and realise, right, well, this team Achieve or this team Sonic Boom, they like to come from the indirect spot. I know that's kind of meta, but that means that team is comfortable in the current meta pushes. What we are seeing though is already the hop outs and getting ready to do the burn from before. Remember what happened last time? We did see that Aruni fly out, but this time it's just getting ready to swing. She's not going to actually get picked up by anything. Diana drone actually burning out, and we'll see those nades fly through very soon, as there is plenty of bodies ready for that. It seems as if the Aruni is ready for the sound calls, etc. as well. We're going to have to drop off though now, as there's already been 2 ADSs burned and also a body dropped into a DBNO state.
There goes Arctics to finally get that shield destroyed. And yeah, Senpai has been downed. I think in a position, though, where they cannot be finished off. Yeah, they actually dropped down the library hatch. But oh no, not again. Look at this flank by Gingy. No disconnect to stop him from finding 2 kills instead of just 1 this time. And gets away with relative ease as well. Hopping down through Solar, heading back into Trophy Room as well. A minute 30 left. And we may see this clear being affected by Sonic Boom. But the flank watch completely non-existent.
Nice pickup of the Aruni there. That's absolutely huge. Brings us, I guess, the man count into a somewhat winnable position, but how winnable is a completely different story right now, as we see Gingy still waiting with those teeth out, ready to snap onto anybody that does walk by. I don't know if that will come through. Plate actually gets damaged a little bit, but not too much. There is information though on their position, getting ready to swing, and actually loses out. Yams picking up Chihiro. Now we are in this position. Played, trying to contest on towards those ivy stairs, those blue stairs, and now there's not much utility that can be done here. 40 seconds left, and this is looking like the map and series is going to achieve.
Nothing much left for Sonic Boom to accomplish here. Low on health, low on resources, really low on everything here. The morale must not be looking too well for Sonic Boom either, as they're trying their best to find some sort of opening to capitalize on, but they just can't. The hatch being guarded by some toxic canisters. We've got Gingy getting aggressive, but it's still a man advantage, but things are getting quite close. Thankfully, no one's aware of Senpai's position. There's a quick trade now, leaving it just to play, and they're still caught in the ADS, taking forever to aim down sights with that LMG, making it a second for Senpai on those fireplace stairs, and it will be ent out quite effectively. 7-3 here with Achieve, not really leaving any room for recovery at all for their opponents of Sonic Boom.
They really didn't, and on that defensive half, they were emphatic in their defense. Nobody was able to... I'm not saying that they weren't able to get a look in, because let's be honest, that first round on bar was a pretty much look in. That was a flip of a coin, the kind of edge of a knife. At the end of the day, we have our winners. It is Achieve Esports, a 2-0 fashion. I think you could argue that Border should have been won early. Don't know if Chalet should have been won earlier, but they certainly did put in a good performance nonetheless.
Yeah, I gotta agree. And we do still have one more matchup here for tonight, but it will not be done by you or even myself here. I've got something else up here. We still have Nova and Tangamayu Down still running production and observing as well, so you get to see them once again doing their job quite phenomenally. But before we go into the second matchup here today, we will go into a quick little break and be back to start things up right around 9 o'clock Eastern. Don't go anywhere.